よかった。ありがとうございます。
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am Kyle from Fantasy Forge Studios, and we are here with, what is it, Session 14 of Adventures in Middle-earth. Yeah, the group is currently in Lake Town, and they're about to witness a public execution. And so, yeah, things got really intense last session, and so I'm glad that you guys are all here joining us for this momentous occasion, I guess. But without further ado, before we jump into anything, let's go ahead and introduce our cast of players, starting with Valinith. Oh, can't hear you.
You're still muted, man.
That's what happens all the time. All right, anyways, hello everyone. I'm Dain, or Forged. I'm here at Fantasy Forge Studios, and I play the character Valinith. He is a high elf from Rivendell, and he is the scholar of the group. He heals people, and he's old compared to the rest of everyone else. He's very old. So,
but young for an elf, kind of.
Young for an elf, but old.
Young but old.
Young but old. That's it. Yep.
Perfect. Next we have Theodric.
Hey everybody, I'm that Toby Australian. I play Theodric Grimborn. He is our Rohirrim. He is a young man of Rohan. He is our slayer, and I like to think of him as our defensive wall of the party, with his big shield and his just kind of the more defensive slayer, I guess, of the group.
The boy takes hits like a champ. I'll tell you something.
Yes.
Especially at low levels. That 18. Although I lucked out and somehow got your armor class last battle, so that's fun.
It was fun.
Yes.
Yeah, for a sweet crack on the head is good.
Yeah. Which then brings us to Jalen.
Yes, hello. I play Jalen Greenfold, the warden from the Breland, aspiring warden. I am Spider-Fan33 in the chat. And she has a pet dog named Rufus, which we love very much.
Absolutely. And our final character, actually, I'm surprised, 14 episodes in, this is the first time we've had a player miss, so that's pretty good. Great for the consistency, guys. But Feanor is played by Nick, but he is a slayer from Mirkwood. He's a Mirkwood elf. And yeah, he's got kind of this mysterious past that nobody really quite knows. And yeah, he does his job of going around all the Middle-earth, you know, being friends with everybody, such as elves, but men and dwarves especially. He's frequented towns such as Woodman Town, even Dale, Lake Town, all these places the years after the fall of Smaug. And so, yeah, he is there, and because he is not here today, I will be playing bits of him and rolling for him as well. So I'll take my job as the lore master to do so. Which brings us finally to myself. I am Kyle. I am the lore master, the DM, and the decider of fate here in this D&D 5e campaign. To give you a little context, Adventures in Middle-earth is a D&D 5e campaign that takes place between the years of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Right now, specifically, 5 years, almost to the day, a couple months past, of the Battle of the Five Armies and the Desolation of Smaug. And so this group of adventurers came together to gathering at the celebration of the Five Armies, the gathering of the Five Armies, where they all met during various things such as competing. And upon those competitions and gaining victories and whatnot, and gaining notorship around Dale, they were able to form a party. One thing led to another, which led them on a wild goose chase all the way down to the city of Esgaroth, Lake Town, where they were chasing a group of bandits, one of them particular by the name of Kelmund, who was in charge of basically putting a bunch of kids through some real bad stuff up in Dale. And so he escaped from them the first time out of their grasp, but last session, the group was able to track these bandits down where they discovered that they had taken the place of guards, caravan guards, to go through Mirkwood with a merchant by the name of Baldur with his son, young 10-year-old son, Belgo. And so they were able to go in there, save them. The combat was quite something. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. Yeah, big guy, a lot of missing, not a lot happening until the very end, and then a lot happened. And without further ado, they were able to escort them back to Esgaroth, to where Baldur, the last thing that he had mentioned was he wanted to hire them as caravan guards at the price of 50 silver coins apiece for helping him get through the Mirkwood. But with that, the group took these three bandits, Jonar, Kelmund, and Fidnar, to basically the master of Lake Town and Mortigar, and put them on trial before the people. Not only were these three bandits wanted for, they were basically kicked out and exiled from the city, and upon pain of death were not to enter the city, and upon doing so, they were put on trial, and two of them got the sentence of death, while one of them was sentenced to exile for the remainder of his days to the waste, that one being Finnar. Nope, not Finnar. Kelmund. Yes, Kelmund. Yes, and then the other two, Finnar and Jonar, were sentenced to death. And so that's where we're starting our session off, kind of on a downer note. But downer note, but maybe justice. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But anything that you guys want to add before we officially begin this session? Any questions that you want? Anything that you want to ask away?
I don't know. So, where are we? So we're left off at this, but the sentences had just been given, right?
Yes, sentences have just been given. And later that evening, as the sun sets, they were sent in the market pool to be hung, basically, until dead. And in the meantime, Kelmund was actually escorted away by a few of the guards of Esgaroth, and actually accompanied by a couple of knights of Dale, where he has immediately begun his long trek out of the city of Esgaroth, into the northern wastes where he is to be left, and no help is to be given to him.
Is this going on at the same time as the hanging?
Yeah, so like they've already departed outside of the city before.
Okay.
If you want a chance to be able to talk to him before that happens, this is your moment to do so before
Yeah,
moving
so
on.
that's what I was gonna do. Valinith himself, he's actually not gonna watch the hanging. He's just gonna like just kind of do his own thing. He's gonna go off, talk to Kelmund, but he's not actually gonna be in attendance for the hanging.
Okay.
But he's going to go up to Kelmund as I guess he's being escorted out.
Yeah, so essentially what this looks like is everybody that's at this sentencing hearing, they've all kind of been riled up, and there's a decent amount of them that have a good amount of scorn and hate in their voice, as basically the guards of Esgaroth have reshackled, rechained both Finnar and Jonar, and as they're doing so, a couple of them have chained up Kelmund as well. And to the point where now he has basically 2 guards on each side as he is being prepared and is about to be sent into the back room of the essentially the town meeting hall.
Okay. Valinith is gonna approach. I'm assuming he's pretty well guarded by the guards.
Yeah,
and
there's
stuff,
like there's one on each side of him that
One on
are
each
beginning to escort. So
And he's chained up. Like, how is he chained up? Is he basically just like he can only walk? That's all he can
So
do?
he's got shackles around his ankles with like a chain between the 2 of them, and then he's also shackled in the front with basically cuffs that like are across his arms, that cuffs that link his hands. He is no longer gagged, and as you approach him, you notice that he's not saying anything. He has kind of just like this solemn look on his face as his head just kind of like hangs down, like with his one eye staring at the ground.
Valinith approaches him, and he approaches the guards, and he says, "Thank you for your hard work today. This is a day to rejoice, but this is also a day of sorrow." And he looks at Kelmund.
The guards, they kind of echo and they say, "Thank you for catching these here troublemakers of the city. If it were up to us, all 3 of them would be hanging by their necks. But mercy being as it is, we'll see. We'll see if this one is able to survive out there on his own." And then the other one kind of chuckles to himself. With our luck, he lives a long, painful life. And Finnar just kind of still hangs his head.
Valinith smiles, doesn't really respond to those specific gestures themselves, the words from the guards. He smiles to himself, and then he pipes up. "Do you mind if I have a word with this young one before you take him to his exile?"
They both look at each other.
"I don't mind if you 2 are present. That's fine. That's totally okay. But may I have a word before everyone leaves?"
Don't know what words you could have with such a wicked man, but sure. We'll be right here by his side to make sure no funny business happens.
Okay. Valinith says, "Why, thank you very much. Kind gentlemen, it will only be a minute, and I'll leave you to your business." And Valinith steps in front of Kelmund and puts his hand on Kelmund's shoulder in a firm but like kind of like compassionate way.
But as you do so, you notice that Kelmund immediately winces, like almost like shrinking back upon your touch. Even though you don't place your hand very hard, very comforting, he shrinks back as you put your hand on his shoulder.
Is he looking down, away? What's he doing?
He's kind of giving you like one of these things with like his eye. He's just like kind of like...
Yeah. And Valinith smiles at him and says, "At ease, Kelmund, at ease. Justice has been done to you. There's nothing I can do that's going to be any worse than what's about to happen to you. However, I do have some words of advice, young one. I don't know what brought you to this specific situation where you are following these 2 men. Obviously, it seems like you're quite young and naive compared to the 2 of them. Are they your seniors by any means?"
Seniors, I guess. And his voice is like pretty raspy at this point. You could tell he spent the better part of the past day just kind of like weeping and like losing basically his voice. You could say that. I was, well, they took me in from a younger age. Well, probably since I was a strapping lad of 16. You see, I didn't have much in the way of a family, and they were the closest to family that I had.
And I can see that in your eyes. The moment I saw you, even at the moment where you had poor little Belgo by the knife at his throat, it wasn't the actions of a true villain that I saw, but almost the actions of someone just following commands, or that of someone who was scared. The reason why I advocated for you up there on the stage is because you are young, of course, but I can also tell you haven't been quite as tainted as those other two in the true senses of it. Of course, this exile's not going to be easy for you, but I hope you do take it as an opportunity to learn and grow from your mistakes. Do remember that this compassion does follow, right? You're not dying, and obviously that's a great thing. You have every opportunity in your own life to make the most out of what you have left. I mean, I'm an elf. I've lived 777 years on this earth, and I've seen so much suffering, and I've seen also so much great deeds done. And I hope with the rest of your life, if you do happen to make it out of the waste, that you turn it towards something to help others as opposed to take, and as opposed to greed. And then Valinith also kind of smiles and moves his hand from the shoulder to his cheek, like towards the eye that's like plucked out. And he says, "Do you mind if I have a look?" Quickly.
Make a persuasion check for me.
Lord. Oh, Lord. First rolls. I'm bad at these. I'm really bad at these. Persuasion.
You got this. Come on.
Oh, that's performance. It's the
You
same.
may be bad at them, but they're good for content.
It's true. It's an 11.
11.
Yeah.
He winces continuously, but as you begin to lift the bandage that's around his eye, he winces.
Oh, come now. Come now. I'm a doctor after all. I know I'm sorry, and first and foremost, I apologize for doing this to you. You do understand that it had to be done, though, right? At the very least.
He doesn't say anything, but you lift the bandage as he kind of is just like wincing, and the wound is relatively cleaned out. They're not sending him away in a state where like this wound is going to be the death of him if he does go. It is, yeah, it's pretty gross though.
And Valinith kind of just like examines it, just make sure that it's not like infected or anything. Make sure that it's in a state acceptable to send them off, which obviously it is at this point. And he kind of like hangs his head a little bit, and he says, "Again, I'm sorry I had to do this to you. There's things in life that even I as myself don't necessarily like to do. However, as a healer, it's my job to protect others, and unfortunately that also comes with potentially injuring others as well. I do my best to try to make amends for what it is, but I hope you don't hold this against me. And here's a little token of my I'm sorry." And he hands the guards and talks to the guards 3 silver pieces, and says, "This is for him just to make sure he's well fed and in a good state by the time he gets to the wastelands. Once he's there, obviously, you do what you will, but please make sure you're taking care of him, and making sure he's well fed and has a comfortable-esque trip, as comfortable as a prisoner can be up towards those wastes." And also, and Valinith takes out of his bag and one of his elvish blankets that he has and hands it to him, and he's like, "It's gonna be quite cold up there, so keep warm, my friend. I hope you survive, but no hard feelings. But I hope that you turn your life around, and I hope that this is an opportunity to learn from your mistakes and hopefully bring light to other people's lives as opposed to darkness." And gives him
the two guards just they take basically the silver pieces and they take the cloak, not cloak, the blanket, and they look at each other like quite confused. So much mercy for someone who's done so much hate, who had caused so much sorrow. The ways of the elves will never quite understand. But you are old in years, and you are wise beyond ours. Perhaps there is something to the things that you say that are true. You have our word. This money will be spent on him, but as soon as he is released to the waste, he is for the wilderness to take care of. Have you made your way up there, Master Elf?
I have not. However, my father has been up there many a time. He's one of Elrond's personal guards from Elrond. Do you know about Lord Elrond of Rivendell? In the common tongue, Rivendell, it's called.
All of these elvish names sound same to us.
Well, he's a very important elf back west, so I have never been, but I hope to see it someday. I am a cartographer after all, and I would love to see it. However, I wish, obviously, Kelmund the best of luck up there. And as you can see, he's no orc, so he has some opportunity to turn his life around. And I hope that that's the case, especially humans. They don't live very long, and so make the most of life as it is.
I'm going to have you really quickly make a shadow lore check for me, Valineth.
That's a nat 20 for 22.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, buddy. One thing that you can see as you gaze upon him is you sense that there is almost this kind of lifting of his spirit in a way. He's
Kelmund
still
or
like
the guard?
Kelmund. He looks as if he has been, he looks terrified, first of all. But his outward appearance wouldn't show it, but you just have this feeling that there is this shadow that was grasping him, and it seems somewhat lightened. And he looks up to you and says, if we meet again in this life, do know, I don't forget. I don't forget the acts of mercies. I have not done such things in my life. But I have also not done much to deserve it. And he hangs his head.
And Valineth smiles and puts his hand on his head really quick and says, "Oh, you have a lot to learn, my good sir. I'll tell you, none of us are perfect, and that is, I am no exception. In fact, there are many things that have happened to me in my life and that have occurred that I still bear with me every single day. You don't forget. Trust me, you do not forget. However, we learn to live with these things, and all we can do is push forward. So keep your chin up and just turn those deeds to good. And I'm happy that I just got my vambrace back." And then he gives him like a...
And he kind of gives off like this almost kind of like visible like shiver as the guards turn him around and depart as he departs from you. Which brings us to Theodric and Jalen and Feanor. What are you guys doing in the process as Valineth is having this conversation?
I'm educating Theodric on hobbits and their I didn't forget. Come on.
Theodric is just listening attentively,
Yeah.
nodding along, like, uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh. But he doesn't exactly believe. Like, he's like, mm-hmm. Look.
Can I insight check you to see if you believe me or not?
Sure, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Specifically, I'm telling him the story of how golf was invented.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's Valineth, one of Valineth's favorites.
That's actually one of the ones.
Was I think the orc's name is like Golfimble or something. Yeah, something crazy.
I mean, I have the book. I can look it up.
Yeah, there you go.
Insight check of 21. Ooh.
21.
Yeah.
Theodric, do you believe, or are these all just at all?
I believe Jalen is messing with me. Look.
You know what? If we I need to take you to the Breland now.
If you're
I
playing,
need to take
if
you
you're
to
playing a Breelander like an Australian, then yes, you're probably bullshitting me in some way. They're like prop players. Okay, that's
No,
what's
no, no.
happening right now.
Like, Breland is Irish. What are you talking about?
You're using an Australian accent.
I
You've
know,
said
but
mate
that's a character
100
choice.
times. I know, but like,
Would you be more comfortable if I spoke like this to you then? I'd still be saying the same things. It's just a different
no, I
accent.
definitely prefer not that.
I'm picturing this actually happening real time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, Theodric is just like, sure, yep.
You don't
Tiny
believe
little
me.
people who live in holes. Yep.
You don't believe. I need to take you to the Breland now. I need to take you to the Breland. There's.
Quest marker unlocked. The journey
Oh
to
my
the
God.
Breland.
Does Valinith come
We
back?
need to
for
meet
this
a hobbit,
conversation?
man.
No, not during this conversation,
Oh,
Valinith.
this
This
is
is happening simultaneously. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Small little
Right.
people with huge feet. That makes sense. Why don't the rest of them grow?
Because
Big feet and little rest of them doesn't make
because
sense.
they're hobbits. They're a different
No,
species.
my feet grow
You
at the same
don't
rate
ask
as the
dwarves
rest of
why
me.
women's beards grow and everyone else, like every other female race, their beards don't grow.
Well, no, but like,
That's
like
why
their
they
feet
grow
grow
hair
at the
on their
same rate
feet,
as the
because
rest of
they're
their body,
literal
which makes
different
sense.
species to humans to elves to dwarves.
Yeah, actually, Feanor, he jumps. He's like, "Come on, Theodric. You see, I've had lots of friends with all kinds of hobbits, all kinds of dwarves, and if anything, actually, there's a small tavern that I remember."
You need to shut your mouth right now. Because you're just gonna damage my case further if you keep talking.
No, I promise. There's a small
No,
little
you need to shut your mouth. You actually do.
I see.
You need to just close it. Thank you. So anyway, that's how golf was invented.
He turns around and he says, "So, anyways, about these executions," as he walks into the crowd.
Yeah, yours.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Lovely.
Yeah.
He's a horrible human being, but at least he believes in hobbits.
I like
Hey,
how
they're
you're just throwing all these pot shots at him. He's not even here to defend himself.
I'll tell you though, they're not humans, meaning they're not animals, so it's okay.
Oh, boy.
And with that, you all reconvene after this conversation between you guys as they begin taking the last two, Jonar and Finnar, away to the square, the market pool. Anything that you guys want to do in the like hour or two that you have before these executions are set? Valineth, you said you want no part. Well, you don't want to be present for the executions. What about everybody else?
I want to find Elena.
Okay.
I tried to look for her, like, while we were actually in the town hall. Didn't have much luck, but now if I have more time, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Theodric, what do you want to do?
Theodric is probably just going to tag along with Jalen, but he does want to be there for the execution, as he believes, as he is the one who is partly responsible for arresting these men and bringing them to justice. He has the duty to see it through to its end.
Absolutely.
Right? No matter how squeamish or bad it may make him feel, watching two men die in such a way, he feels that it is his moral obligation to watch these men die, as he's essentially the one who is responsible for them having that fate.
Absolutely. And Feanor, he is actually going to go out amongst the crowd, and he actually disappears into the crowd as you go do your separate things. To be continued with him. First, let's go ahead and go to Jalen. So you look in this, as everybody's kind of filing out of the town hall, you look for her. Seeing if this is, as it seems like a big chunk of the town were crammed and packed into this decently big town hall. I'm going to have you make an investigation check as you look.
Investigation. Huzzah. That's a flat 10.
Okay. You look, and there are a number of people that are here that could potentially be, but as you approach them, you notice that, you just mistake them for someone else, someone similar size, builds, and whatnot. You go out into kind of like the main boardwalk streets of Esgaroth, and you see everybody has begun to dissipate. Some of them, you can tell, are returning home, not necessarily wanting to see the... whatever's going to unfold, or perhaps preparing for it. But you see a decent number of people with basically fists raised to the air, like almost cheering as they both, like all of them, surround the two heavily guarded, basically men, bandits. It's basically yelling at them, spitting at them, all this kind of stuff. Like they are... everything but being flogged, essentially, as these men are making their way down to the market pool. Yes, Jalen.
Are people throwing rocks at them?
People are not throwing rocks at them. So, unfortunately, I guess for them, on docks, there's not a ton of rocks to find and pick up. So,
Yep.
But there are a decent number of people that are maybe like throwing like some kind of like small vegetables or like things like of the sort at them.
Yeah.
Nothing super
Ripe
horribly
tomatoes.
expensive yet. So maybe some tomatoes, maybe some potatoes, whatever the case. No one wants to get hit with a potato. That's almost as bad as a rock.
Stinky potato, no.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that it takes you a little bit of time to actually search her out, but you eventually do. And because the market pool, basically is in the dock district, it's very close actually to the tavern. And so you're able to go and see her at the Trader's Rest kind of out front as she kind of stands with her like arms like crossed, like looking out at the crowd as like the guards and whatnot get essentially the nooses ready and everything together before they're hanged. But she's just kind of standing there kind of in the back, like out in front of the Trader's Post. Or Trader's Rest, not Post.
Yeah. I'll go up beside her. She acknowledge me, see me at all in her peripheral?
She does, and actually she kind of like opens herself up a little bit physically as you approach and says, "Oh, you have no idea how happy I am to see you safe. The fact you brought such wicked men here. You've done a great service to the city."
That's not really why I did it. I was really just... it started as just helping a friend. But I think the world will be better off after this. And I'll just put her hand on her shoulder.
She basically kind of like sinks into that, almost like this like big weight has been lifted off of her shoulders, and you can tell, like, you haven't known her for very long. It's like what, day 2, but you can tell that she's a different person. Like her entire body has become almost this like less tense, more relaxed. You don't see any smiles or any like hints of joy. You see a little bit of solemnness, but you see almost kind of like this overwhelming sense of relief that's within her eyes, and you can even tell with some of the expressions on her face that it's more relief than it is like joy or anything.
Yeah. I'll just ask her, would it be alright if I stayed with you? Do you plan on watching?
Lady Jalen, I would like that very much. Would you like a cup of tea?
Not right now, thanks. I don't really want you to be doing work while this is going on.
As between us, I've been kind of looking for a distraction. The wait, well, it can't happen soon enough, I think. The longer that these men live, well, the more that the more nervous I get. I just want it to happen.
In that case, I'd love a cup of tea. Chamomile.
Huh.
Yeah, but
Yes, of course. On the house, of course. As a thank you for personal thanks. And she goes in and kind of scurries in, and you can hear that she's the only one in this place.
yeah.
Yeah, and she's
Everyone
getting
else
everything
is out.
together. Yeah,
By the way,
Udos is out, and he's like kind of like standing there, like one of those guys like leading the charge, kind of like, oh yeah, these guys. And he just like, wow, so much excitement in this town. He's just very observant, I guess, or kind of just enjoying the general kind of riotingness of the city. But yes, Jalen.
I was gonna say
Okay.
quality tea choice, by the way.
What?
Chamomile. Chamomile.
Oh, right.
Quality
No, I
tea
just-
choice.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite teas. I like that one, and lemon and ginger is honestly very good.
It's a good one.
That's a sidetrack.
Theodric. So you begin following everybody down, and you actually stand kind of almost near the center of this mob, keeping an eye on Jonar and Finnar. I'm going to have you make an insight check for me.
Is Feanor with him, by the way?
I'm still muted. Okay, that's annoying. Insight check.
Feanor is not with him.
Ah, that is a 2. That is a nat 1 plus 1.
Nice.
You're trying desperately to get a read on these two individuals that are before you, but it is so distracting from all the people screaming, and you're actually spending just as much time like dodging some of the stuff that is being thrown at them. The one thing that you do constantly feel is like, man, do I feel bad for these guards, because they're taking a little bit of the brunt of this as well as they continuously walk these men through. But you do continue walk with this kind of sense of, justice. It's something that you're actually not completely unfamiliar with from where you're from. So a little bit of backstory with you, Theodric. So the way that the law in the Rittermark is it oftentimes is very martial law. So you kind of being part of kind of like the warriors that are there, some of the riders, you've seen and have been witness to some of these almost kind of like public executions. Most of them actually in the Rittermark are beheadings, actually, not necessarily hangings. But this doesn't seem to distract you all that much from, your sense of duty and seeing these men through all the way to the death. And so it makes sense that you're feeling this and that you're not feeling really any sort of grief. If anything, you feel a sense of accomplishment for the things that you've done and what you've done for these people.
Okay. Can Theodric try to kind of calm the crowd down to make things easier for the guards?
How do you want to do that? So do you want to kind of be a little bit more persuasive and gentle, or do you want to try to intimidate them, or
Not intimidate them. He wants to kind of reason with them, I guess.
okay?
And kind of just be like more persuasive than anything else.
Perfect. Go ahead and make your case, and then we'll go ahead and make a roll.
Okay. Theodric kind of moves himself forward to where Finnar and is it Jonar?
Jonar.
Are being I guess escorted by the guards, and he kind of like draws himself up to his full height, which isn't crazy high, but I guess compared to most other people, he is still quite tall and broad.
Mhm.
And he kind of clears his throat and says, we're in Esgaroth, right? Not Dale. People of Esgaroth, I know that you're eager to see justice done, but please, calm down and let these guards do their job. And please, allow these two men to die with some dignity. This isn't a show for everyone to watch. This isn't a happy or joyous time. This is a time to be solemn and to let justice happen and to reflect upon the misdeeds that these men have done.
Make a persuasion check for me.
That is a 15.
15. You see, they kind of mutter to themselves a little bit, and one person kind of from the back says, "Dignity? what are you talking about, dignity? They deserve nothing of the sort. But then you actually see a few of the people that are closer to you. They begin to kind of like, oh, no, he's right. He's right. And like, you actually do a good job of calming the people, especially within the immediate vicinity. And so any stray things that do come thrown in are like hurled from the back. But they're not coming in with much force. And actually, you see as you do this, the guards turn around and actually kind of give a nod to you. Almost kind of like this like nod of approval as these men are continuously being led away. And at this point, this is where Jalen slips off and sees, because you guys are starting to make your way to the market pool where essentially these gallows are being set up. A bunch of essentially townsfolk, in a way, more carpenters, have basically brought the stuff, the set of stuff from the town hall and kind of the city center to there, and it's begun the construction. You kind of stand looking up at Finar and Jonar, and one of the things that you do see is Finar, he kind of is just like, kind of like blinking, like almost like uncontrollably. You don't know what this reaction is. It's really odd and really strange. But you see, did I say Finar? Yeah, it was Finar. And then Jonar, he's just standing there, like still shackled, just standing still, almost just like looking out at the crowd, barely moving his head, but you can see his eyes like gazing back and forth towards everyone. And every now and then you see kind of like this like kind of very toothy grin as he just as he sees basically everyone gazing at them and ridiculing them verbally. So, cool. Valinith, where are you during all of this?
Quick question for Theodric. Is your horse still tied
Safely
up
tucked away at the stables.
Okay, at the stables. So Valinith is actually going to go towards the stables and spend his time with a brown horse. So he's going to go over to brown horse, and he's going to...
Baradorok.
Yeah.
His name is not brown horse. That's like calling you brown-haired elf.
Well.
Yep.
I'm just translating it because that's
no
native
need to translate.
tongue.
It's his name.
That's native tongue.
You know
Don't
what?
translate Valinith into whatever the English equivalent is.
I need
Fancy
to...
pants.
When I'm writing Broderick, I need to say brown horse so often just because I don't know how to spell it.
Bruh. I know, it's difficult, right?
Baradorok.
Baradorok. Yeah. It's good.
Broderick.
But he goes to the stable and puts a hand on Baradorok, brown horse, in quotations, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, the fickleness of men," and like pats him. If only they understood true mortality. In fact, they do understand mortality probably better than even I do. But, oh man, and he's just gonna he's gonna sit there. He's not really gonna think about it, and he's just gonna stroke the majestic, handsome beast's mane for a little while.
Make an animal handling check.
Sweet. Animal handling. I'm actually good at animal handling. What the heck?
Elves.
I mean, not great at animal handling, but like, it's
Can't
a
wait.
9.
I can't wait for this roll to go bad.
It was a 9. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible.
So you
I wanted that to be in that one so bad.
You reach out your hand towards Baradorok, and you can tell that there's something about him that's a little bit on edge as he immediately goes. You don't know what it is. And as you kind of gaze into his eyes, you can see that you're actually quite unfamiliar with the way that this beast is. And actually, as you stare at him longer, there's something about Baradorok that's very different from the horses that you've seen in Eriador. Not only like his physical build, but like there's almost kind of like this deeper sense of like understanding. And if you understand like humanity a little bit in this creature, and you reach your hand out to pet, and he tentatively, his eyes kind of like flash, and they catch yours. And immediately you come to the understanding of this creature does not like to be left alone. And being basically you being like the first time that you've really spent time alone with this creature ever.
Yeah,
It is a little bit nervous, but you can tell that it's kind of like fighting back a little bit of, kind of some nerves about not having Theodric there for like the better part of probably about 16-ish hours.
Oh, good horse, good horse. Don't worry, I am a friend, no foe. And he'll just like be there, just spend some time with him. He's not gonna push like himself onto Baradrock if he notices that. But he'll spend some time with him and just reflecting on humanity and reflecting on mortality. And he's gonna just spend some time writing in his journal about the events of the day and stuff in the stables with Brown Horse.
Perfect.
Sorry, Baradrock.
Yeah, with Baradrock.
That's gonna take a lot of getting used to, because to me he's Brown Horse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
hey Britt, how's it going? Welcome in. But as you do so, the execution is just about to begin, and so you see actually a decent number of people that are in attendance. One person that you do not see, however, is the master himself. If anything, all basically responsibility has been handed over to Boris, as he says, as our clock strikes 5 p.m., as the days grow longer, but as our day comes to a close, so do the lives of these here men. Our lives, each and every one of us, have been impacted by the actions of Jonar and Finar. For worse, and not for better. It is thanks to these brave adventurers from outside of our borders, that bring these men here to justice. And he gestures to pretty much the only one that's right up there at the front is Theodric. He doesn't see Jalen standing in the back, and he doesn't see Feanor anywhere within the crowd. And it is with, it is with a sense of duty and justice that I, Boris Ivanov, sentence Jonar and Finar to death on this day by hanging. Do you two have anything to say before your last breaths on this Middle Earth ring out? And and everybody kind of looks up expectingly, and you actually see Finar. He kind of stumbles a little bit, and then he breathes slowly. Clearly, I made a mistake by coming back here. And clearly, my actions have caught up to me. But it was a good run. And he looks up. Boss, I can't think of a more fitting way for us to end our glorious pursuits of power. And then Jonar, he says, to be taken down like this by those that we do not know. Only the fates can decide such things. Remember, each one of you here, while we may be gone, we will reside with you. Hopefully for generations to come, the exploits of Jonar will ring true in the history books. Remember this as a warning of your own weakness. And my weakness has led to my ultimate undoing. Learn from this And he goes over and he kind of nods over to actually to Boris, almost as a kind of like, okay, it's time. Theodric, Jalen, anything you guys want to do as you are hearing this?
Theodric's just kind of watching and shaking his head, like, what a... And he's just mutters to himself, what a waste of last words.
Jalen will be doing a little self-reflecting on like the darkness within herself, and there's a little bit of fear in that because she looks at Fina and basically what she could become, and she'll think of her father.
I'm going to have both of you make wisdom saving throws for me.
Yeah, here we go. Point number 7 of
Why
Shadow.
Valinith didn't want to be there. Well, I mean, he wouldn't want to be there anyway, but...
That's fair, honestly. It was decent. I got a 13.
Okay.
Just roll for me. That is a 6.
6. Theodric, as you stare and you continuously think these thoughts to yourself, they cast no sway over you. If anything, the thing that you think about these individuals is they are weak. And then your mind flashes to the eyes of an ancient orc, and you begin to feel a sense of rage build up inside of you. I'm going to have you make a second wisdom saving throw, this time at disadvantage.
Oh boy. That is a 3.
Why? Why are you so bad at rolling dice?
I'm clicking a button. There's nothing I can do differently.
I know, it's hilarious. I don't
So
blame
bad.
You.
Oh,
I don't blame you.
no.
It's just poor Theodric.
You feel your blood begin to boil as you just begin to feel just absolute rage, a mixture of rage and fear. You step up onto the, basically, these stockades. Not stockades, these gallows.
Oh no.
Move Boris over to the side, and you just, boom, pull the lever as both of them just go hanging. You gain 1 point of shadow, Theodric. Jalen, you see this. We'll just say this is before Theodric goes and actually pulls the lever. You begin to contemplate your life. You begin to contemplate the people in your life and seeing what you could potentially become. And this is something that you've gone over and over in your mind, and you've spent probably way too much time thinking about as far as the way you thought about it. But yeah, this kind of brush with mortality, this brush with justice, begins to really make things real for you. Over the past few days, you've sensed this kind of darkening of yourself. The things that you've done seem easier. As far as, well, the brutality of potentially some of your actions. However, as you begin to contemplate, you remember the really, really wonderful people in your life. And they ground you. Your hand goes to your sword hilt, and you feel this sense of joy. Not quite bliss. And it's like more than relief. And you remember Halberad, the ranger way back all the way in the Brelands, one of the last people that you saw before you departed home. And he mentions to you, your journey is just beginning. And it is the decisions that you make with each choice of your life and the relationships that you build that shape you to the person that you are. You look to your left, and you smile a little bit. You see that Elena is shedding a tear. And you can see this sense of grief has finally been lifted as you begin to hear the creaking of rope. You can remove 1 point of shadow.
Yo, Jalen!
I was hyped for that.
It's okay. Basically, think of it this way: Theodric gave, took one of Jalen's shadows away.
Well,
I mean,
he traded, I guess. But Theodric,
right.
yeah, absolutely. And as Theodric pulls this, basically this lever, and you see for a moment the two of them struggle, you can't help but think, hold on just one more second. Just one more second as you begin to see the suffering on their faces that you cannot physically comprehend as the life begins to leave their body. You feel the sense of joy as they... And this joy, it stems from this deep sense of duty, this deep sense of justice. And as you go over, as you see Finnar, as he's struggling, he looks over to you, and his eyes have begun almost to kind of bud out of his head, completely red. As he looks at you, you go over there to put your hands on his shoulders, and right before you shove him down, from the side, boom, a body tackles you to the ground. It's Feanor. And he wrestles you for a moment, pins your shoulders basically on the ground as you kind of fall off the docks behind, and he pins you down. It's okay. Just relax. Make a, I'm going to have you make an athletics check. This is going to be with advantage.
Oh, boy. Of course, this is where I roll good. When I'm trying to hurt Feanor. Of course. I got a 22.
A 22. Well, let's see what...
I got a nat 20 plus my 20.
Nat 20.
I think. Hang on, let me double check.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was a nat 20 plus...
I love it.
Oh, no, it was an 18 plus 4.
Okay. Yeah, so Feanor, he pins you as you, this overwhelming sense of strength. You begin pushing off. He got a 20, by the way, if you didn't see. You begin pushing him off the top of you, and he's just holding and fighting you. Theodric, buddy, this isn't you. And immediately, boom, you push him off and you sit up. I'm going to have you make a Shadow Lore check for me. This might be your first Shadow Lore check.
It is.
Get it. Roll good, please.
No, it's a 13. I mean,
13.
That's okay.
That's not bad at all. For Theodric, that's great. That's like rolling a nat 20.
You look at the face of Feanor, and you see nothing but rage. If anything, you almost see past this fake facade of this person. How dare you? How dare you stop this sense of justice? And then immediately, the feelings leave you. And you just sit there staring at this very serious face of Feanor. You look up, and you see the body swinging. No longer struggling. You look down at your hands, almost in disbelief. Was it all a dream? And we're going to go ahead and bring an end to this sequence here.
Oh, Lord. Whew.
Time has passed.
Fascinating.
Time has passed. Everybody has kind of had the chance to clear. The bodies have been removed. They have been taken into the care of the guards as they've been drawn away. The plan for them is to bury them far off, outside of the lands, actually, of the Daelins. Off into the wastes to be sent with Kelmund, to where it is his job to bury these bodies in the frozen earth that is the wastes. the rest of the crowd, they begin gathering, and you hear that there's a number of, or they begin dispersing from their gathering. And there's a number of individuals who are talking and recollecting, and a lot of weeping. What are you guys doing at this moment?
I'm getting a drink.
Theodric is gonna go hang out with Barada Rock for a while.
Do I get to hang out with Theodric?
If you want to, I'm assuming you're still in the stables
Yeah.
as Theodric does enter. We'll go ahead and play that out first before we get to Jalen. So, Theodric Valineth.
Valineth's not really paying attention as Theodric walks in, as he's just sitting in his journal. He's sitting on like a hay bale, maybe like a yard or two away from, like a meter or two away from Barada Rock, just in the corner.
Theodric just kind of walks forward and just he's kind of in his own head, and as he goes through his saddlebags to get a brush to kind of like get rid of the knots in Barada Rock's mane, and just kind of like, you know, look after his coat, and he's gonna start just gently combing through Barada Rock's mane.
You do
And just
so.
kind of soothe himself and, you know, look after Barada Rock at the same time.
Valineth notices, and he smiles, and he looks up. Obviously, he didn't see anything that went on, so he's still in like a pretty good place. And he closes his journal, and he says, "Ah, yes, your fine beast of burden over here. He's quite the staunch one. He is very protective of himself, and you know what? He's a fine steed indeed. You've raised him well."
Thank you, Valineth.
Yes. How was it? How were the events? How did they unfold? Obviously, I'm assuming they're dead, right?
Yes, they're definitely dead.
Okay, well, justice
I
is
hung
done.
them myself.
Wait, it wasn't the captain who did it. What gave you the honor and prestige to do such an honorable task, my friend?
No one did. I pushed them over to do it myself.
Huh. Man, the stories from the Rittermark. They come, and I'm not surprised. A man of duty such as yourself, taking the initiative. Well, you know what? Hopefully it's a step of growth for you, my friend.
I don't think it was. I don't know. I was angry. I wasn't thinking. I don't know what happened. I would have gone further if Feanor hadn't stopped me.
Well, it's good we have friends around, isn't it? I'll tell you, it's part of the reason why I didn't show up myself. Even being of the ripe age of 777, this kind of thing still isn't easy for me. And, I mean, after seeing Kelmond off, looking at these men in their eyes, it's just, as their life leaves, I don't think it's something my soul can bear. So, in ways, you're a better living creature than I am for putting up with it. And I don't blame you for rage getting the hold of you, but it's about harnessing that rage, right, buddy?
Yes. However, I'm supposed to do that.
Okay, little by little. You know, we learn as we live.
Valineth, make an insight check for me.
Insight? I'm not good at insight. Why can't it be a perception?
You're a wisdom-based character.
Yeah, but like, my perception's a 5, and my wisdom's a 3. Sorry,
just-
my
Oh.
insight's a
Just
3.
get proficiency
pretty
in
good.
insight.
I know, yeah. Well, that's not great. That's a 9.
9.
Yeah.
You look into, as Theodric and you are discussing, you look into his eyes, and you see almost kind of the same spirit that you saw, kind of brief moments flashing a glint within Barada Rock's eyes. You come to an understanding. Something that, I don't know, really touches you about this moment. Is he is so young, and he is learning so many things. But you can tell in this moment, there's a genuine sense of fear in Theodric. maybe the way that he said it kind of papered over maybe some of the events that he did to a degree. Not even necessarily making light of the things that he did, but you can tell like the things that he did scared him.
Yeah.
And you sensed this same sense in Baradarok not too long ago. It's a strange, odd connection. Yeah. But as you see Theodoric brushing and combing Baradarok's hair, his mane, and Baradarok does nuzzle him, there's this slight sense of relief. And you can tell that he begins to calm himself as he does. Yes.
Yeah, well, just Valinus smiles to himself as he notices this and sees that this is an opportunity for Theodoric to kind of cool down and de-stress. And as he walks by, he's like, well, glad it's over. I'll be taking my leave, and puts his hand on his shoulder as he passes really quick and just whispers to him as he's passing. I may not have the street smarts of a worldly kind of person, and I may not necessarily have the insights to really look into every situation here. However, I do consider myself to be quite wise in the way. I've been around wise people my entire life. So if there is any need for counsel or any need for talking about these things, I'm always available, my friend. Again, yes, we're companions, but I also always have a listening ear. Maybe my wisdom can help in the future. And pats him on the shoulder and walks away.
Thank you, Valinus.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. And continues his way through the door of the stables.
Excellent. And Theodoric's just gonna keep looking after Baradarok.
Perfect. Going to Jalen. So you make your way back in, and you walk actually in with Elena to the Trader's Rest. And a number of people have filed in. Some, you can tell, are regulars, and this is just their time to come drink. And Uros has made his way behind the bar, and as boisterous as ever, he takes one of the cups off the counter, basically, like, does one of these things. He opens his mouth, he finishes whatever last drops are in it, and then he takes his towel off of his shoulder and begins to wipe whatever residues are inside. As people file in and begin to have orders. Elena, she sits you down at one of the tables by the window and says, Jalen, it's thanks to you that I think I was able to make it through this day. This was a day that I'd been hoping for, yet dreading my entire life, and ever since the death of my husband, I didn't think I'd have anybody to go through it with. So thank you.
You're welcome. I've always, I suppose, tried to be a person who could be there for people. So, I'm glad you felt some sort of relief, I hope.
Once so young in years, it's as if you could be my daughter. And, unfortunately, my husband and I weren't able to have children of our own. If you don't mind, can I think of you as such?
I would be honored. I really would. As long as you don't tell my parents, there shouldn't be a problem.
No, that's not any of my intention. She laughs, kind of like chuckles to herself. None of my intention.
Yeah, it was meant to be like half a joke.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just give her like a brief little hug and just say, I'm so glad to have met you, Elena.
And I'm so glad to have met you, Jalen. Wise beyond your years. And stronger at that.
Yeah.
She kind of nods and just...
That's a great compliment. You know,
Jalen.
it's terrible. Yes?
Do be safe on your travels. I don't know how much longer you plan on staying, but I will say, the impact that you and your friends have made on my life, and the life of the people here in Esgaroth. I sense something in you, Jalen. You are going to do great things here in Middle-earth. Things that are beyond, well, that of someone like me. Continue to make friends on your journeys. Fight for the weak. I do find that those with strength, it's not their obligation to fight for us. But when you do, it makes us feel like we matter.
I'm glad, because you do matter. I grew up in what some maybe consider a privileged house. I never wanted for much, if anything, beyond what was good for me anyway. And it was a good life. But I looked out at the world and I didn't see anyone like me. Someone who could stand up for her ideals and against the bullies and the darkness of the world. Someone who knew her own mind and could speak it. Someone who could defend herself against anything that might stand in her way. And I wanted to be that for someone.
Jalen, you grew up privileged, but it has been my greatest privilege to see you here and to get to know you. Your words, your perception of the world around you and the people around you. If anything you take from this journey, remember this. That's what makes you special. You're strong and mighty, sure. But it's how you treat us. It's how you treat everybody that you interact with. That saves lives too. You saved many lives today. You've saved many from reliving terror, nightmares. You have seen a good number of men and women go to bed tonight here in Esgaroth without fear that they experienced more than 5 years ago, when those men could show up at their doors any minute. It is you, Jalen, and your friends. You're responsible for sweet dreams in the first time in a very long time for many of us here.
That's good. Everyone deserves rest. The way I treat people is with respect. I try to see things from their point of view and determine for myself. I don't treat everyone like that. There are some I feel that are too arrogant or pompous. Yeah. Think you need to get your hands a bit dirty before you can If you see people as beneath you, then you'll never take the time to really understand them. And I think a lot of people who are more well off don't understand that properly.
Perhaps you're right, Jalen. Perhaps you're right. There are a fair share of good people here in Esgaroth. And, well, we've done a good job at keeping our streets clean. If you can call them streets. But I will make sure to remember that. Even when good old Normad comes in, I will remember that.
Yes, I think people tend to underestimate Nomad. He may not look it, but he's just as brave as any of us four. After all, he was the one who provided pivotal information in tracking of these criminals. It's interesting, you find heroes in the places that you least expect, people who are brave enough to stand up against bullies, against the darkness in every corner. It's very heartening to see.
Fate is a funny thing, isn't it? The things that are unexplainable. The sheer pain people can go through. But also the relationships and the joy that people can make. Life is a give and take. Sometimes when life takes everything from you, it's hard to think that it's setting you up for something great. For meeting people noble and wonderful. The people that we will be leaving Middle-earth in the hands of. For me, for Normad, even for Uros. He might not seem it. But we are concerned. One day a dragon comes knocking on our door. And the next, we've rebuilt. Lives that have been destroyed have given another chance at life. Newfound freedoms from the tyranny that we were under. I guess one thing that I have learned in my, years here. To live your best life and to live your life in goodness. Jalen, I see this in you, but do remember. An act of evil for a good outcome. It's still evil act. The things that these men did. Perhaps they were looking for a good outcome for themselves. But the evil acts that they do, and they partake in, seeped into the hearts of all of us. And you best remember that. On your journeys, you will see all kinds of evil and wickedness. Humanity is so ripe of it.
Just to be clear, so are other races? It's not just humans.
Well, humanity, all mortals, all those immortal that live on this Middle Earth. Indeed.
To be alive is to be capable of error. But the act of selfishness is an act of evilness. In most cases.
It is. And,
That's why I do things for people like you. And the people like those in this tavern. Because as long as I'm being a part of something greater than myself, then my hope is that I won't stray far from this path. That I'll continue to do good and honorable things that can be talked out of awe or respect instead of disgust.
Jalen, it's been a pleasure. I have so much hope going into the future with you at our back. And I hope to build a lifelong friendship with you. I know you come from many miles away. But you have a home here anytime you need.
Of course.
And with that, yes, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't have a permanent address at the moment, but if you send letters to Dale, I might pick them up next time I'm through, or, you know, just making a plan to stay in, like, semi-contact. Yeah, I'll definitely be visiting her next time I'm in Esgaroth.
Wonderful, wonderful. My daughter, adopted daughter, Jalen.
Yeah.
She smiles as she kind of like takes the empty teapot away. Yeah, you spend kind of the rest of your evening contemplating just kind of the events of everything. You see a number of people of experiencing all kinds of emotions come in and out of this tavern. Some people may be driven deeper into whatever sadness they've come in. Some people, you can tell, are just elated,
Yeah.
floating on clouds.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mark off 3 silver pieces for
Okay.
the night. Just buying drinks for myself, for other people, listening to stories, just whatever they want to talk about, basically.
Perfect.
Moving along, yeah,
I love it.
among people.
Valineth, you depart and you make your way back to the tavern, hopefully to meet up with the rest of your group as you leave Theodric behind. And Theodric, you have spent a good amount of time with Baradarok, and at this point you do feel calm. You are reflecting, but one thing that you do that does keep popping up in your mind over and over again is, while maybe you feel calm in this moment, you do not look forward to the night of sleep that is ahead of you. And as you leave, you see actually leaning against the stable, Feanor. Ha! Theodric. Can I have a word with you, buddy?
Of course, Feanor, what's up?
So you mentioned that you've had a problem with this bloodlust, as you say, in the past.
Yes,
This battle fury.
yes. It has cropped its head up once or twice.
That was something that I saw up there. And between the two of us, I have seen a lot of things in my life. One, I'm grateful that you are on our side. And remind me the next time that I try to, get on your bad side. Eeh. But do know, Valineth, and Jalen, and myself, and of course Baradarok, Nymph, we've all got your back. You're not in this alone. You came to Dale looking for answers, and you left Dale with friends.
Yes, and I am grateful for your help today, Feanor, for knocking some sense into me.
You know, man of instinct, well, for what I saw, it did not seem did not seem right. And more for the sake of the people of Esgaroth, they didn't need to see anything quite like that. Fortunately, I think for the both of us, there was enough hate for those two to go around. I think they understand where you're coming from, probably more than anybody.
Yes, yeah. Let's go get a drink.
Ha! Chin up. Drinks are on me tonight.
What a giving elf.
Are you gonna waste like all of
I
Feanor's
know.
money while he's not even here?
Oh, he would do it himself. Let's be real. He would
He would
offer the
do.
same thing. I will say,
Okay.
by the way, great Fedor impression. It's a very, very good.
I can't
Fedor.
quite do
I just think he thinks
raspy
he talks
Australian
more like
accent.
this, don't you know?
Don't you know? Don't you know?
No, he's got this like cadence to his voice that's very
Yes.
masculine. Comes from the chest.
That's true.
You need to stop that.
Why?
It's way too good.
Am I too spot on?
It's way too
You
good.
you just need to be wearing some shades, and then you're completing that.
True.
Oh man,
Alright.
I haven't worn sunglasses since I got these prescription ones.
It's okay. I understand.
I'm right there with you.
I understand. Yep. By the way, as Valineth is making his way back, does he run into? Oh gosh, what's his name? Buffalo Bill, not Buffalo Bill, but Buffalo Bill, or a Barnacle Bill type guy. What's his name?
Barnacle Bill type guy.
Nomad?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Normad. Normad. Yeah.
Are you
is he-
specifically looking for him, or are you just
Well, not
kind
if Valineth notices him on the way over, he's not necessarily looking for him. But like, for example, when he makes his way back to the bar or anything,
What's your passive perception for me?
it's real good. It's like my best. It's my best stat. Let me pull that up for you in a second here. Passive perception. Passive perception. It is a where do I find that? Oh, it's a 15.
15. You do actually run into him. You notice that not necessarily like a run into him, but you do catch him kind of crouched over by a set of barrels by the docks, and he seems to be kind of like talking to himself and whispering, almost kind of like rubbing his hands together. I hate to say it, but kind of like Gollum-like.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
But yeah, he does seem to kind of be like talking to himself as you see him. And do you want to approach him or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. Well, as I'm walking, I'm like, "Hey, Normad, my good sir, fine sir." And
Who are you? Have I made acquaintance with you?
oh well, maybe I haven't necessarily talked to you before, but you met my acquaintance the other night, Jalen. She talked to you at the table. You were the one who gave us that key information for catching those scallywags, weren't you?
Oh, the one who bought me dinner.
Why, yes, that's the one exact. And Valineth is just thinking and just smirking to himself in his head about how it was for the dog food. It was dog food. But either way, he's like, "Do you want to join me? You're just as much to celebrate this victory as anyone else. Let's go have a drink, my friend."
Make a persuasion check for me.
It's on me. Don't die, Normad.
Hydrate, Kyle. Don't die on us.
No, I was doing his raspiness and I sucked in some spittle.
Oh no.
Oh well, that's great, guys.
What is it?
It's a natural one.
A natural one.
Add it
I
to the
don't know you.
collection.
I don't know you. What are you talking about?
Well, you don't have to come with me, but if you are in the neighborhood, come to the tavern. I'm sure you'll meet that wonderful lady that you met the other night. Maybe she'll buy you another drink. But this is a night for celebration, not for skulking.
Celebration. Maybe. I'll have to think about this.
All right. We'll be.
Leave me to
your
my
guard.
business.
And he begins almost like very like fakely examining the barrel to see like to look like he's busy.
And Valineth will just walk on. That's all he wanted to do.
Okay, cool. You guys all do eventually meet up at the Trader's Rest, to where you see Jalen speaking with a decent amount of people, kind of making her rounds. Not only just observing, but hearing the stories of the people and just getting to know everybody who is coming in and grabbing drinks, those who have come in for a meal, those sad and solemn, but also those joyful. Being there as someone to listen to, but also being there as, hopefully a voice of comfort and excitement during this very odd time. You all eventually do make your way back in Valineth. You do first, and you join up with Jalen. Not too long after that, probably about another 10, 15 minutes, Theodric and Feanor do end up making their way in. And with that, you guys pretty much pay for rooms for the night, get things ready. As you do think about what tomorrow brings. From what you can remember, 8:30 is the time that you are supposed to depart in the morning, as you are supposed to meet Baldur and Belgo with their
Did we
caravan.
accept that job offer then?
That is one thing you can talk about.
Oh, okay.
Valineth is all for this because he wants to get out of here. He has his van brace, and now he has nothing on his agenda.
See, I'm supposed to be meeting this great pilgrim.
Well, you keep telling us about that, Jalen. But if you're meeting someone, didn't you say that you can't? If you're looking for him, you're seeking him, you won't find him. Sounds like you're
Well-
seeking him. This seems like the perfect way to get your mind off such things, and maybe you'll meet him.
It's a white elephant theory. As soon as you say, don't think of a white elephant, what do you think about? A white elephant.
Well, maybe you
Why
can
did the
think.
freaking...
What is an Is that like an oliphant?
Yeah,
I've heard
it's a
of
mystical
oliphant.
creature. It's a thinking exercise, Theodric. You know, like
Yes.
if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it even make a noise?
Probably.
I mean-
that's how noise works.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is, it's a thinking problem. If something happens but no one's around to witness it, did it happen?
I mean, yes. I mean,
Why did
I get
Halberd send me down here looking
I
for someone?
I get
You
what
cannot
you
be
mean,
found.
Jalen. Just that thought exercise always annoyed me because it doesn't make any sense.
By the way, Lore Master, does Valineth know Halberad?
I'm gonna have you make a history check for me.
Because you can't just drop names like this and not expect Valineth.
You just want the fanboy moment of, oh, I know
mean,
him.
partially. That's 18 plus 2, 20.
Oh, yeah,
Whoa.
you know him.
Yeah, so one of the things that you have known in your years, you haven't spent too much time outside of Rivendell, but you have heard of this very young Dunedain by the name of Halberad. And he is actually the son currently of the leader of the Rangers of the Dunedain in the basically North Eriador. You haven't seen him, you've never met him, but from what you know, from the young Dunedain that is currently in residence in Rivendell, this is a man who, or lads that grew up together and knew each other. They're good friends. So
I'm sorry, who's good friends? Halberad and who?
Aragorn.
Oh, and Aragorn, okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Oh, Halberad! Oh, you met the young one. I haven't had the pleasure to meet him. However, his father's quite an amazing man, I hear. Good for you, Jalen.
Good for me. Good for me how? He sent me on this huge quest, and I haven't even done anything about it.
Well, if someone as important as Halberad sent you on it, then it must be something quite important indeed. Well, let's do our best to not
Yep.
think about it then, right?
You'd think that if it was so important, then it would actually be achievable.
Well, it might be. You just have to stop thinking about it.
That's a paradox. As soon as you say to not think about something, that just makes you want to think about it more.
Then maybe let's not talk.
Jalen, I know a great way to not think about things. Here, have another one of these. As Feanor,
I have had too many of these already. Thank you.
it sounds like you haven't had enough to me. And he puts another one down.
I just line him up against his row, hoping that he won't notice the extra beers.
And he says, Uros, we're doing something here. Don't take their glasses. She's not done with those. We're counting these up at the end of the night. This is a marker of how much fun we have. I understand you're running out, but look at all those dusty ones up top.
Valnith prefers those ones. Okay.
Uros, you causing trouble in my tavern.
No,
Don't
just
worry, we're not gonna break
bring my
anything.
You do realize that's more work than it's worth. Though some of those have been up there for 3 years, at least.
Oh, I fully thought he was gonna say something ridiculous like 30 years, and then I remembered that the whole town was decimated 5 years ago.
Good.
Okay, all
Right,
that being
everyone
said,
needs reasoning for a nice cleaning once in a while.
Maybe you should get a Rufus. I'm joking, of course.
no, nice spring cleaning. That's pretty traditional. I don't know.
Rufus, he's sitting there, and basically his head has been in Jalen's lap the whole time. Anytime she takes a seat somewhere, head in the lap, just kind of like looking. Kind of a little bit odd. His tail isn't super waggly, but you can tell that with all of the chaos and everything that has happened, Rufus is very much there, looking at Jalen, very, very concerned, I guess, about her. It's just...
He's got the puppy eyes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Theodric kind of turns to Jalen and says, Jalen, think about it like this. If we take this job with Boulder, we'll be going to the Woodland Realm. And I've heard that the Grey Pilgrim does visit King's Thranduil quite often, and that he's close confidants with Prince Legolas. So there's a good chance that he'll be there.
You make an excellent argument.
Also, those 50 silver pieces each do sound very nice.
That is.
Plus, it's my home.
Oh, what?
It is Feanor's home.
It is Feanor's home. I don't like the Mirkwood. It seems.
Oh, neither do I. I've got bad.
Oh,
memories of
don't
Mirkwood.
worry. We've got a legendary stag with us. We're gonna be fine. I know these
No,
woods.
just
I know the elf
kind
path.
of-
If that's what we're taking, no problem, right?
And I have maps. See, we won't get lost.
Yeah, see?
the darkness kind of clings to you. Is that just in my head? Am I making that up?
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's the same for elves, but I definitely get what you mean. But at the same time, Boldor says he does this quite often, so I'm sure that his path that he's got mapped out is fine.
Indeed.
If he does it so often, why does he need guards? No, I see what you're saying though. Yeah, no, it's a good
increases
idea.
the climber, I'm
We should
sure.
do it.
Klingons have weird-looking heads, and they
What?
come with these things called
No,
laser
no.
beams.
No, we aren't canonizing Klingons in
That's a
history.
different nerdum, okay?
That isn't happening. That's a big nope.
I don't understand the language they speak, however. They look very orc-esque.
Yeah, the time of the Klingon is over. The time of the orc has come.
God knows still.
You guys are right.
So,
No.
so is that a unanimous huzzah towards this idea?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
And with that, you guys end the night. I'm going to say between the group of you, Jalen, that's going to be the 3 silver pieces that you've already paid. Theodric, that's going to be 1 silver piece for you for the night plus... Actually, no. I'm going to say that's 5 copper pieces for your room. And Feanor's going to be taking on the cost of you. And then Valnit, that's 1 silver piece for you for that night.
Remove 5 copper. Oh, thank God. I need this 50 silver, Jalen. I am getting very broke very quickly.
Yeah. Before we leave, can I try and buy like an actual dagger, not just the belt dagger that I have?
So you're gonna have to do that now. I'm gonna have you
Yeah.
make an investigation check at disadvantage.
Yeah, that's so good. I can do that.
Maybe you'll find it in the deck somewhere sticking out.
It's a 10 and a natural 20, so a 10.
Oh dang! Dang! I saw that
It
natural
doesn't
20. I'm
count.
like, sweet.
No, I'm not writing it down. It doesn't count.
10 and a natural 20. So you look around to see if there is anything, and no stores are open. at this point. You can try early in the morning. You are in the market pool after all. And with that, I'm going to say that you guys go to bed, and I'm going to give you one last opportunity to be able to find something in the morning. But any last plans before you guys do head off to go meet Baldur and Belgo?
Do we need like any food or supplies?
If you want to do so, again, this is a really good place to stock up. Valinith, I'm going to have you make a... so you're going towards Woodland Hall. That's your end destination, essentially. Yep. I'm going to have you make a... make a wisdom check. And I'm going to give you advantage since you have advantage with cartographer's... Or you have proficiency with cartographer's supplies.
Okay. I don't know if I'll need that
Ooh,
advantage,
that's a
but I'll
22.
take it. It's a 22.
Yeah,
Not a
it is.
dirty 20, but... or it's a dirty 22. It's a 19.
19. So the entire night, you haven't, obviously not requiring much sleep yourself in order to make your way through. You've begun
dreams.
Yeah, you've begun kind of planning your route about what the safest path could be. You just want to be able to start this day with everything ready, everything all set. From basically leaving tomorrow and making all the way to Woodman Town, that total journey without any delays or any misfortunes to happen, that is going to be a 96-day journey.
96 days. I am noting that down in my book. Wow,
And
that's that long?
63 of those days are spent in Mirkwood.
Okay, all right. I don't have a pencil. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, and I'll go jot that down. Be right back. But sounds good. So 93 days, 63 is in Mirkwood, right?
Are in Mirkwood.
Okay, sounds good. Be right back.
And during the night, Feanor, he's been going over kind of all of his provisions and everything going forward, and just kind of asking everybody. It's like, hey, so Theodric, how good are you at hunting?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at hunting.
Okay. Because I have to say, if everything checks out here for Valinith, well, I have a lot of food here, but that could go really quickly.
Yes. Well, thankfully, the Mirkwood's full of critters, right?
Yes.
Okay, can I have an an insight check? Is he just lying?
Make an
through
insight
his
check,
teeth?
absolutely.
I mean, from the brief time I'd spent in the Mirkwood, it wasn't the issue wasn't the number of creatures, it was just that everything was quiet. So I don't know what to expect.
As always, Theodric does not know if
If I help him, can I give him advantage?
He has gotten a solid 6 in investigate in insight.
Because it was already rolled, I'm going to say no, Jalen.
Okay.
But I'm going to say, Theodric, you look at him and you're like, all right, I'm trusting you. I will tell you, when I actually met Nymphiarion, he was, someone was hunting him. I think it was a woodman. I'm not quite sure. But, yeah, I've spent some time out hunting in the Mirkwood, and as long as you know how to pick up a trail or two, yeah, I don't see us having any problems. Maybe we want to pack a few rations just in case, food does run scarce. But if we are sticking to the elf path, which he confirms with Valinith, we're sticking to the elf path, right? Yes.
If what's his name? Valinith has something to say about it, yes.
Okay. Yes. For sticking to the elf path, there's a decent number of hunting grounds along there that my people go, and we often venture off into the wood. Trust me, I'm familiar with the area. We'll be okay.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, you notice that Feanor's making very light of this. Like, going into Mirkwood from Jalen, yours, and Theodric's experience is a very, very daunting thing. Valinith just is like, oh yeah, it's another just day.
It's a journey, and Valinith is all about the journey.
Yeah, and Feanor as well. They're pretty excited, but yeah, I can see Theodric and Jalen
sleep,
are.
in fact, but I never sleep.
Theodric turns to Jalen and he goes, You know, it's quite easy for them to relax. If they get lost in the forest, you know, they have 100 years to spend wandering around trying to find their way back. You and I don't have that, you know,
You could
nice
spend
little wiggle room.
100 years lost in this freaking forest.
No, we don't have that wiggle room that they have.
It's okay, Theodric. To be exact, we'll be spending, I did the calculations last night, 63 days in Mirkwood is what we're going to be. So not quite 100 years. You'll be fine, my friend.
That's a month and a half.
It is a month and a half?
It's gonna be nearly summer by the time we get there.
That is true, but
No,
hey.
we'll be mid-spring by that
We'll get to learn some wonderful things about each other, and we'll also get to learn some sweet jokes along the way. I actually find myself to be quite the comic.
Oh my lord, I'm going to die surrounded by idiots.
Jalen, come on now. Between us, let's just say the real idiot.
And he looks down at Rufus.
I put my hands over his ears. Don't you say those things about my pet.
No, he's not an idiot. He's just, happy-go-lucky.
He's well-intentioned.
This will be a great opportunity, Jalen, to train him. Don't worry, I will help you.
Okay, thanks, I think.
And you know what? We don't even need to make that many provisions because we got Theodric and Feanor to hunt for us. Isn't that right, boys?
How many rations can I realistically carry on
It's
my
going
back?
to take us 93 days. So we're going to need 93 days times, how many is that? 4, 5, 6 people plus animals.
It's a lot of food.
It's a lot of food.
Okay, legitimately question for the lore master: how many rations can I realistically carry on my back?
Technically, let me see. You have carrying capacity. You can check to see like your encumbrance. So technically, the carrying capacity, I'm looking at Feanor right now. He's carrying 170 pounds worth of stuff. He can carry up to 225 pounds of stuff without being encumbered. And he's got a decent number of rations. So he himself has 40 rations. Yeah. So.
If we do, is hunting a thing we could do?
Yeah,
really
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Where do I check how much I can carry?
So go to your inventory, and then at the very top it says weight carried. And then it says, like, for example, 170, and it'll tell you unencumbered if you're unencumbered. You can click on that, and then it pulls up a side menu that tells you your carrying capacity, that you push, drag, or lift, and then all that other stuff. So.
Very good. Very good.
That's
Yeah, so if you go just to your inventory, it's literally right underneath the inventory tab at the top there.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so I will say you guys are journeying with ponies too. And so one of the things that you can do is you can put some of your technically baggage. This journey, it's a passive thing. You don't have to physically put stuff from your inventory onto these ponies. But essentially what that'll allow you to do is ignore the first point of exhaustion that you take. And so the way that that works is if you go without food for certain periods of time, you gain points of exhaustion. So you can go certain periods without food. While you are on the journey, if there is no like hunt or anything that you have, if you are running low on food, but you do risk taking points of exhaustion. So,
I had dark thought, and I don't want to say it out loud because that's too dark.
About eating Baradorok, I agree. No, I'm joking. We would eat the ponies first, and then Baradorok.
See, at least I didn't say my thought out loud, but you
Rufus
just
is first to go.
You're
Rufus,
right.
then Nympharion, then Baradorok.
Why is Rufus the first to go?
Because he's been here. He's not the senior here. He's the newbie. That means he's first to be eaten. Baradorok and Nympharion both have seniority.
and as you guys talk about eating Rufus, he's just like kind of like chewing on himself. You know how like dogs with like the front of their teeth are like scratching themselves, like.
Yeah.
We don't need any of the animals. We don't need to.
I recommend if we do have to eat the
we
ponies,
better
raw is
watch
the
out
best.
if we do start eating animals. because Valinus is gonna start eating either you or me next, Theodric, because
That's true. That's true. Humans are animals. After all, I have it written
they're
right
not.
here.
They're not, though. They're not.
You're right. I
I'm
would
not gonna
never
have to
eat
eat
such a
anything.
filthy beast.
You're missing the point so far.
Elves are animals too. It's
I'm
all-
joking.
Elves are
I'm joking.
animals.
I could never eat my friends, even if they were animals.
Okay. In other news,
I need a second time.
how much? In the morning, we should try to get some more rations, just in case. Also, this is out of character question for you, Kyle. I gave my Knightly Shield of Dale to Feanor.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
And
you
that's
did.
he's got that in his inventory.
He doesn't, but I'll add it.
Okay, cool. So I just want to know so I can make sure before I remove it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can go ahead and just plop that sucker in here, and then does he have it? Did he add it? 1 second.
How do I remember?
Shield of Dale. No, he didn't add the correct one, so I'm gonna go ahead
Okay.
and do that for him.
Okay, I've just removed mine from my inventory.
Easy. Theodric, how much money do you have?
I have 6 silver pieces and 2 copper,
Okay, cool.
Pretty good.
but I also have 14 rations.
Okay, yeah, I have less rations than that. But if we want to each carry like 20 days worth of rations,
And then hunting. After
Yes.
that.
yeah.
Hopefully there will be as much food as Feanor says.
Well, along
Yep.
the path, and Valinith goes into talking about all the cartography of it. We should
Okay.
be fine as far as supplies go. I mean, there's not necessarily any towns we're going to be stopping by, but I mean, there's running water that we'll be able to access. There's lots of animals in Mirkwood. I don't know if you've entered yourselves, but it is a
We
forest.
were there last night. We were there literally last night.
That's true. There was an eyeball that we threw to a squirrel. That's correct.
Well,
There was an
Valinith is...
eyeball that Theodric threw to a squirrel because you wanted to feed it to Rufus. Yes.
Oh yes, I think it would have been a wonderful treat for him.
While Valinith is waffling,
I'm just gonna assume that you can get your own rations.
Theodric just says in an aside to Jalen, like, we eat Valinith first, just to stop his
Incessant nattering? Yep, I got it.
nattering.
I got it.
Before any of the animals, like before Rufus, before Barada Rock and Nymeria, just...
Does Valinith hear any of this?
No, that's
What
what
do
you
your
elf
elf
ears
is?
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a perception check.
Yeah, roll good at perception.
Theodric, you're screwed.
This is when you actually roll good, isn't it?
Let's see.
It's
I have
either
a
gonna
plus
be...
5 to perception, so that's an
It's-
18 plus 5, 23.
Of
Yeah,
course.
you hear every
It's a
word of
good-
it.
A good roll,
And
finally.
Valinith chuckles to himself. He's like, ha, 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 what happens if something befalls you? Your healer would be gone. That would be a net negative, don't you think?
It
He
depends
makes light of it.
what
He doesn't take it, but-
exactly befell us, I'd say.
Oh, well, you know, maybe we could gather
Cool.
some nuts in the forest. Maybe we can gather some water, and
Mark.
we'll be totally
You know, I
fine.
have
You know-
this lovely friend named Dee. She makes the most
Okay.
amazing nuts.
Please, I'm sure her
Kyle?
nuts are great.
Kyle, outside of
These nuts.
everything, in case you want to, I saw the most amazing thing used in a D&D campaign. The party kept using D's nuts joke, so the DM had them run into a genie, and when they used a D's nuts joke on the genie cursed them, so that anytime they said a D's nuts joke, they got 3 D10s worth of psionic damage.
That would kill everyone.
Do with that, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Do with
Not
that
take
what you
these
will.
nuts away from
There's
the
an
channel.
idea.
They are
There's an
unstable
idea.
There's
of
no
this
genies in
channel.
Middle-earth.
You think I would have
No,
followed
but
this
I'm
channel
just saying
if they
that
didn't
a
have these
wizard,
nuts
maybe we
jokes
tell
involved?
these nuts joke to Gandalf or Thranduil, and
Why are
that's
you
gonna
putting
happen.
thoughts in my head? I didn't
I
even
would
think about
never
any of
do
this.
that to Gandalf.
But Thranduil.
No, I would never do that to anyone.
If-
Valinith, I
If
doubt
Valinith
to the
does a
extreme.
D's nuts joke to Thranduil, we have a
Valinith
weird-
doesn't have the wit to say a D's nuts joke, let's face it.
I mean,
Because that requires a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the epitome of comedy.
well, okay, so Valinith has made puns to other people before. I feel like these nuts are like on
Well, yeah, but
the same sort of bar line.
is D's nuts a common meme in the world of Middle Earth?
You've made it one.
Okay.
How often you make them? Like,
Well, you know, we'll just hopefully we don't come across nuts in the forest. Otherwise,
Oh, boy.
should we pick D's nuts or Doe's nuts?
we're gonna live off roasted acorns.
Of course. Yeah,
And he has a sack where he keeps his nuts.
Yes, it's around my waist, right here. Look.
Yes, that is a very impressive nutsack.
Thank you. I take great pride in it. And by the way, Valnus
Is it normal to carry more than 2?
Oh, why? The more the better.
Sometimes
The
you
more the
get
merrier.
hungry.
Okay,
You have to
okay.
share with friends, don't you?
Okay. Okay. Okay, heads out of the gutter. Okay, here we go.
None of us are sorry. We should stop pretending that we are.
You guys make your way into the market pool.
Oh
I'm gonna
my
have
gosh,
each of you.
okay.
I'm gonna have each of you tell me what your passive perception is.
It's a 15.
15,
Oh, but
13.
13,
Mine is a 11.
11.
No, wait. Yes, 11.
Okay. You guys are able, between the 4 of you, to track down the potential for purchasing, probably between the 4 of you, around 32 rations for all of that. And the cost of that is going to be 3.5 silver pieces if you wish to purchase 35 rations.
We'll do 2 of those because he's doing pretty okay with money. So.
I'm going to do all of it, guys.
Well, are you sure, Jalen? That's very
Yeah,
kind
Oh,
of you.
Jalen, that's
I'm
so kind.
seriously loaded right now.
Are there any nuts among those? I'll take those first.
I very
I
much
think it's
appreciate
just
that.
breads and meats.
Stop.
Oh yes. It's
Nuts
no
aren't
way.
that filling.
It's no way elven way bread, but
I-
I will take it.
I didn't even mean for that to be a joke. Damn it.
Hey.
Yeah, no. You know, meats and breads will last far longer than anything else. So
Yes, I don't think any of these are bear meats, though. We'll keep the bear meats for a special occasion.
yes, their meats on an open fire.
Yes,
Sounds
quite fatty. Actually, they can help for long journeys. I've had bear meat a couple of times, and I've tried a few here and there, and I'm pretty sure it's what kept Brindle through the... Oh, wait, she didn't actually get to eat any of that, did she?
I mean, she said it helped, so...
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Theodric,
You probably should.
you know what is the best
Graham.
thing to cook over an open fire?
fish. Fish is
Chestnuts
delicious.
roasting on an open fire.
I know it's winter, but you can't just... You
Jack
cannot.
Frost nipping at
I
your
work
nose.
in retail. This is a hate crime.
Maybe. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm done. I'll forget by
Okay,
next week.
excellent.
Sorry, I had to get that out of the system.
And as you approach, you see Baldur and Belgo. And Belgo, he's running about, quite excited, actually, doing all kinds of things. You can tell, like, this is something that he's been trained to do. Not necessarily trained to do, but, like, he's just so used to doing it, just, like, running back and forth. Duh, what do you need? And he's just like, oh, I think we need a couple more of these. We better have a gift for the king. He'll be quite happy indeed if we do so. Oh, yes, I actually know exactly where I can get that. Can I have a couple silver? I want to get a snack for the barge ride over. All right, I can't say no to you, Belgo. And he gives a couple of silver. He's like, oh, boy. And he goes and he runs off and does his things. And as he's running off, he runs it to you. Oh, my friends. Oh, so
Hey,
have you decided to join us?
Indeed, we have. Good morning,
Yep.
Belgo.
you sure
Good
have.
morning. And you could tell that his eyes are completely elated, as if last night or 2 nights ago he wasn't at a near-death experience. Well, my he's over there, and he points like back
Yep.
behind, over by that barge. You'll see the ponies. That's much easier.
Yep.
Oh, and you have
Where are you off to?
you have your horse. I
Yes.
didn't. You said.
Oh, it's so big. And he goes over and he, is it okay if I pet him?
Yes,
What?
go quite ahead.
What's his name?
This is Barada Rock.
Can I
John
call
has
him
whispered
Rock?
to you.
I can't really
Yes.
pronounce that. Oh,
Yeah, that's
good.
fine.
Good boy, Rock. Good boy. And right here, it's Rufus. How are you doing today, buddy? And he like kind of bends down, and then Rufus. I'm so happy that you're happy. I'm so happy all of you are coming with us.
So wait, hey, where are you off to right now?
Oh, I'm going to go get myself a snack.
Oh, you wouldn't know anywhere I could buy like a little dagger this time in the morning,
Dagger.
would you?
I think I might find a place on my way. If you want to follow
Okay.
me,
Yeah, I'll come.
don't
with
worry, you won't get lost. Because when we go back to my dad, I know exactly where he is. The others can go meet him, and then we can come together.
Well, that's great, and Rufus can come with us.
Can I?
I'm not gonna say no. Go for it, man.
And he begins just like very aggressively petting the
Yeah.
ears as Rufus is just like. And he just kind of like sneezes a couple of times. Rufus. It's a little stinky. Did you know that?
Yeah, he hasn't had his bath this morning.
Just this morning.
Well, we're gonna be across the lake. We can maybe gather some pond water and rinse him off.
Sure, why not?
Perfect. Well, come with me,
And he
Jalen.
did jump in the lake the other day, Valinus, so he's not too bad.
Well, you know, lake water, schmake water. I'll tell
And
you.
yet, I still think that he bathes more regularly than Feanor does.
True. Feanor, you as an elf, you really need to take care of yourself, sir.
I take care of myself, and he flexes his left arm and his right arm. I take care of myself in other ways.
Yes, but you know what?
An all bear meat diet, an all bear meat and alcohol diet is not great, Feanor.
How do you think I grew these? I probably should start thinking about growing my hair out.
I need to cut
Nah.
my off.
Oh yes, you're getting to be that age, young one, where yes, long hair, voluptuous elven locks. I can picture it on you.
Well, I did have a friend back in the day who, well, she said that I looked much better with shorter hair, but every single one of our other kin completely disagreed. But, you know, I've grown to like it a little bit. You know, sometimes when you're wielding a spear, it's not good when you're twirling it and your blade just cuts a little bit off or it gets stuck in your hair and things like that. It's not good.
It's just annoying to look after if you're in a fight or if you're traveling for long distances. Valen, I have no idea how these two guys do it, but
You
like
speak for yourself, right, Theodric? And
I am.
all the-
I am
what's his
speaking
hair?
for myself and my personal experience.
It's a cultural thing.
Yes. I mean, I would think Feanor would understand,
But it's just not practical.
It's
well, that's
not.
where the
How
grace
many
of the elves
hours
comes in.
a day do you spend like looking after just the mane of hair? Like
My
even if you
hair.
braid it.
Why, I don't spend any time looking after it because after 700 years, it's become second nature.
And as he does
How
so, he
old
just
are you, Valinus?
and just
I'm old. Well, by elven years, by elven standards, I'm not that old, but I'm old. I'm like at least 7 times older than this young buck.
that's a lot of life to live.
Because I remember that your age is like 777.
7 exact. Wow, good memory, Jane.
No, I just remembered it because I realized that the hobbits. I know you don't believe in hobbits.
I
Theodric.
love hobbits. They're great.
Yeah, but like the hobbits would call your age to 77.
Would they now? Wow, this is something I have never learned. In hobbit language, 77 years old, and he jots it in his journal.
So 77, yeah. Not to be
77.
confused with 77.
That's right.
So 77.
So 77. How do you spell that? Do you know off the top of your head?
If we're talking in Sindarin, I do believe. And then he begins, "Follow me, Valinith. We'll figure this out together. 2 heads are better than 1."
while they're trying to figure that out, and while Jalen is presumably going to go follow Belgo,
Mhm.
Theodric is going to approach Beldor.
Okay. Yeah, Baldur, he welcomes you. Ah, my friends, welcome. Have you decided to join us on this journey through the Mirkwood?
Indeed, we have Mr. Beldor.
Well, I'll have to say, you saved my hide. Because I will tell you, if we made it all the way to Thranduil's halls, hiring some of those elves do not come cheap.
I imagine so.
Yes. Yes.
They don't
Plus,
really like to leave their forest too often, do they?
true, they do know the Mirkwood quite well, but I will say, I think we're in a much livelier company with the lot of you.
Lively is one way to describe it, I suppose, yes.
Indeed, indeed. Yes, so, you say we're all ready. I was able to get another barge. You know, I own a few of these, and a couple of them survived from the fall of the city. And I see, if we're going to split a couple of them off, how is your horse? Wow, what a majestic beast, and it just towers over these ponies. How is your horse when it comes to water?
He's alright. We generally don't have anything wider than most rivers back in Rohan, so I'm not 100% sure how this will go, but
Well,
if I
don't
stay
worry,
with
I've
him
spent
most
many a
of the
year.
time-
I've spent many a year trying to get these ponies onto these barges, but fortunately for us, until we get to Woodland Hall, well, barges, that's how we're going to be taking. The rest of the way we will be walking through, and as long as you have a good bond with that beast, we
yes,
should be
that
fine
I-
inside the Mirkwood.
No, he should be fine getting on the barge, and I should be able to keep him calm.
Good, good, good. This is wonderful. My son Bilgo is going to be quite happy to see all of these animals surrounding us.
Oh yes, he's already given Baradarok more than his fair share of adoration today.
Well, just let me know, between us, just let me know if Belgo becomes a little bit too much. He tends to get a little overzealous at times.
That's just children. He reminds me a lot of my Lord Esmond's son.
Ah, does he indeed? Well, are there any, well, you're still quite young. Perhaps if there's any tips of how you raise your young men down in Rohan, I would be more than happy to hear them. We have quite a journey ahead of us.
Yes, well, I didn't exactly do too much raising. I was more of a big brother figure to young Lord Eomund, but you know, you pick up a few things, and I'd be happy to give some tips.
Ah, indeed, indeed. And hopefully by the nature I can serve as a good role model to you of how to be a good father into the future. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem I have done quite such a good job, but you did see the bravery of Belgo, and I will say that, well, that also doesn't quite come from me.
I still think you were plenty brave yesterday. Like, you did try to fight back against Jonar, and he was significantly larger than you.
Significant indeed. Did you see the way that branch broke against his arm?
Yes, I'm not used to seeing people much taller than me, but yesterday was an eye-opener indeed.
I'm not sure what was most surprising, the fact that I was able to swing a branch so much that it broke against someone, or the fact that a branch actually broke against somebody.
Yeah, he was a big one.
But see, you took more than a couple of hits from him, and clearly you are right as rain.
I have trained for a very long time to be a warrior.
Indeed. Well, I will very much look forward to talking to you and your companions as we make our way through the Mirkwood. I'm sure there's plenty to discuss, plenty of tales, and, well, keeping ourselves entertained. One of the biggest dangers of the Mirkwood is the boredom. Days upon days of no sunlight. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say these things. Out of fear of scaring you off, of course.
I'm sure that we'll be fine. Boredom and a lack of, boredom and peace and quiet aren't exactly things that we have to deal with in our group, I should say. Velenith and Feanor are both bound to talk your ear off.
Ah, good, good, good.
Does Valinith hear this?
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right there.
I mean, if you're close by. I thought they wandered off to figure out the 77.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Well, yeah, you guys made your way, didn't wander off. You were walking in the same direction, but yeah, you heard everything.
It's okay. Valinith is coming up singing with Feanor. We're on the road again. Oh, we can't wait to be on the road again. It's gonna be a party, Theodric. Do not even worry.
Theodric, I taught him that. I learned that from a couple of traveling dwarf minstrels not too long ago.
I love it. It's catchy, isn't it, Feanor?
Yes, the great dwarf Willie Nelson, who's renowned throughout the lands. Everyone loves him.
Ah, Willie, that's what his name was. I thought it was Billy, but that didn't sound very dwarfish.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. The song is really good. Ha ha ha.
This guy.
He went on at the docks yet.
Jalen, you continue onwards, and Belgo does stop and says, "Oh, look, I think he has one." And you can see that there's this dude who's packing a bunch of crates onto this barge. And actually at his side, he does have a dagger, and it looks more than just a belt dagger. It looks like a legitimate dagger there. Maybe you can ask him.
All right. Yeah, I'll go up and say, hey, sorry if this is out of left field, but I was looking to buy a dagger. Would you be willing to part with yours for a sum of money?
Oh, greetings from Kond. Perhaps I could part with this. Your money, what money do you use here?
You're not from here?
No, I come from far, far east, out in Kond. It's a very, well, you have to travel a very far way by barge, and you have to make your way all the way through the whole Ruin region, and through Dorwinion, all over this great Middle Earth. But no, I've spent some time here, and you have great goods. I come here selling silks, not protection. But yes, I will be willing to part with this if you will have something of equal value to trade.
Oh, we're doing trades. Okay, let me see what I have. I don't have a lot of equipment to spare.
Anything that is of any foreign interest I could take back to my chieftains would be something that would be quite prized. I can say very equal trade. And you look at this dagger, and this dagger is actually quite interesting looking. It's not your kind of a classic dagger. It has more of kind of like a kind of almost like a scimitar look to it, where it's kind of curved off. Definitely more of like an Eastern flair to it.
Yep. Could I persuade you to trade a story or a song?
A story or song? Perhaps I write this down and send it to my people. Yes. Story or song? We do great works of... Where are you from, might I ask? Are you from here, this town on the lake?
Not from... well, you're in Esgaroth right now. Welcome to Esgaroth.
Thank you.
I'm not from here. I was born out west?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know geometry.
Way out here.
Geography, not geometry. I know geometry pretty well. I don't know geography. Yeah, I'm from way out west, past that mountain range you can see in the distance there.
He looks out. I see a bunch of trees.
Yep, beyond the trees even. Back out there's nothing but open plains and good farmland, good for growing mushrooms.
Mushrooms?
So I hear. Yeah, there's like this really famous farmer guy. He makes the most amazing mushrooms. Don't steal them though, because he will chase you off his property.
I can imagine.
Rightly so.
If you stole anything from one of our chieftains back in Kond, you will be leaving with nothing but, well, your head off your shoulders.
Oh well, it's mostly hobbits that way. You know how they are.
He just looks at you like you just spoke a completely foreign language to him.
Have you never heard about hobbits?
No, I have plenty of habits, actually.
No,
Let's see, my daily routine. Hobbits. Hobbits. I'm sorry, not familiar with the language of you out here. Hobbits, explain it to me, please.
Yeah, okay. So, in exchange for the dagger, I will, just give them a story about hobbits and, like, what they look like and some of the, mystical lore about them.
Make a performance check for me.
Like what? Mystical
What?
golf? Golf is mystical.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Golf
golf,
thimble.
but, I feel like I already used that.
That's
Go to
okay.
13?
That's a good one.
13.
These whimsical, mystical creatures you call hobbits.
He takes out a pen and quill.
And what should I title this work of art?
Concerning hobbits,
Okay.
a history of the Shire.
Plagiarism, I like it.
I feel like
I don't know what else to say.
It's a good one. It's a good one. I like it. You don't know.
If it's
Bilbo's
not
he
very
still
begins
writing.
he begins
still
scrawling
writing
something out. You see, outside of my typical days as a fabric salesperson, I do a fair amount of writing music and some very wonderful tunes are popping up in my head concerning hobbits. And he writes down, yes, oh, indeed, of course, and he takes out
would you
his
like
dagger.
to hear a traditional Hobbiton song?
Indeed, this could actually help.
Yeah. All right, and I'll play him. Since it's in my head, I will play him the song that we, Fainor and I, danced to long ago in the celebration of the Five Armies.
Good one.
Drinking songs, I love it.
Yep.
And he begins like,
Okay.
It's the most authentic culture there is.
Well, I would say that this is more than worth it. He takes his dagger and he gives it to you. Take good care of this. You can go ahead and add. I'll flavor it up in your. Just go ahead and add a dagger for now.
Easy.
Indeed. Okay. Well, my chieftains will be quite happy with this, and hopefully I can find a place at their side one of these days. Good talking to you. What is your name, as I was so rude not to ask?
My name is Jalen Grinfold of the Brelands.
Jalen Grinfold of the Brelands. That is a name that is not easily forgotten. All right, and he jots something down at the bottom of his parchment.
And please, what is your name?
Ah, yes. That was something I was not prepared to share.
Oh.
don't worry, I got this.
Oh, okay. I thought you were doing it in character, but then you weren't. Okay.
No, yeah, don't worry.
You're gonna ask me for my name, I'm gonna ask you for yours.
I get it.
My name is Lim, and I come all the way from Kond. Lim.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Y. Well, it was a very nice time meeting you, Lynn. Now I have to go into a very shady wood.
Ah, Shady Wood. Well, I will be enjoying my, the rest of my day here, gathering what I can, taking it back to my chieftain, and I believe that this is the greatest treasure that I have been able to gather from this city, as I have seen. Do enjoy yourself and, get some shade.
Yeah, it's very murky.
Yes. And Belgo, like this whole time, he's just been standing there, like kind of impatiently, but still petting Rufus.
Okay, Jalen. Is it done? Did you get what you needed?
Yes, I did. Thank you so much for waiting.
Great. Come with me. I actually have one of the best stands over here. And he goes, they serve the best dried fish that you've ever tasted. Actually, these past 5 years, it's only been getting better and better. They do the best. And then he goes off and he purchases, basically it's like this skewered dried fish, and he gets you one. Well, you see, my dad was supposed to give me this money to use on just me, but because you're my friend, as long as you don't tell anybody, you can have some of this too, okay? And he buys you one.
Oh, thank you so much.
Do you think Rufus would like a fish?
I think he'd be okay with sharing mine. You know, I don't want him to get fat.
My dad says that he's a little rotund in the middle, but I don't see it. I just think it's stress.
I mean, it might be that too. I mean, there's sometimes a bit of extra weight can be helpful when you're traveling through places where you don't know if you're going to get enough food. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what my dad says.
Yeah. I respect that.
But should we head back? My dad, and he's like, what time is it? Does somebody... Just Jay, come on! And he reaches up and like grabs your wrist, and he I guess he doesn't have to reach up too far, but he grabs your wrist and he trails you. He's over this way in this direction. Okay, let's go. And to which you guys all make your way to this barge, and in this whole process, Theodric, I'm gonna have you make a animal handling check for me.
Oh, please. Of course. That is a nat 20 with an extra 3.
Let's freaking
So,
go.
Baradorok is very unsure at first, and he sees as a Baldur gets the last pony on his barge, and he does so with quite a bit of struggle. You can tell like it's almost kind of like this like balancing act of, all right, one like hoof at a time and just like getting everything on, and it takes probably the better part of 20 minutes to get like one of these creatures on. The first 3 were already on, but this last one was getting on, and you kind of look and you simulate, and and eventually you're just like, come on, Baradorok, and Baradorok just and he kind of backs up a little bit, like a little bit nervous, and he like kind of puts his hoof up and like puts it, and he realizes this kind of balance, and then he just jumps onto like the center, and the barge kind of goes out, but because the rope is tight, it goes, and Baradorok, very sturdy, very stable. You can actually tell that some of your training back in the snow helped him with his footing, and so boom, it kind of lurches out as it reaches the end of the line, and it kind of drifts a little bit back, waiting for you to come on, and he goes and he looks back at you.
It's okay, boy. I don't really like it either, but hopefully it won't take too long and we'll be back on sturdy dry land soon enough. And I climb up on the barge next to him to keep him company while we're ready to ship out.
And with that, everybody else. By the way, I do have a question. Does anybody... I haven't really seen this, but does anyone have fears of water or anything? No.
Oh,
Theodric
no.
doesn't have a fear, but he's very like Rohan is literally just plains and little rivers and creeks.
Mm-hmm.
So this lake is the largest body of water he's ever seen in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a little like not scared, but a little like disconcerted and concerned about the whole issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because Baldur says he's done this, however many times, he's feeling confident enough about this whole situation.
Yeah, I don't have it written anywhere on my character sheet, so I guess I don't have one.
Perfect. And so you all get on with relatively no problem. You've made your way across the lake, and this is actually the first time in a while for some of you that you've made your way across the lake during the daytime. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You can see as you have begun to set sail, the Lonely Mountain very, very slowly shrinking. And this lake is large. But as you drift across, Belgo is actually making his rounds and checking in on everyone, making sure that they're all good. He actually has small little kind of like wine skins that he's giving to everybody. He's like, don't worry, it's not alcohol. It's actually water. I made these all for you while we were waiting last night. And my mom used to, she taught me a thing or two about sewing and weaving together materials, and hopefully they serve you well. We actually got these from the bladders of a couple of cows, and Yeah. Well, enjoy it, please. And he gives each of you kind of like this small little wineskin, and inside of it has this fresh water. It's fresh water from the Long Lake. Some even says that it has magical powers from Smaug.
Well, thank you, Belko. This is lovely.
Oh, it does make good ale, so
Ah,
the
yes.
water itself can't be
Valinus
too bad.
smells it, and he's like, okay, it's not this, but I've just been smelling a really strong scent of fish recently. I wonder what that is.
Oh,
Where?
sorry. I got a snack. I should have gotten a snack for you, but you see, my dad only gave me so much money.
Oh,
to-
no. Oh, that sounds great. No, keep it to yourself. That's your snack. I was just very curious. Smells good, though.
Really
He
good.
might have given some to Rufus. That might be what you're smelling.
Rufus?
Yeah, and then Rufus licked my face. So if you smell any fish on me, that's what that is, and not like anything else.
Make a deception
I
check for me.
Valinus would be like, oh, yes, I tried to give Rufus a snack last night. Or 2 nights ago, I guess, at this point. But I guess you guys didn't want me to give it to him.
I got a 12.
A 12. Yeah, it's passable.
It's easily deceived in ways like that.
He trusts Jalen too much. That's his
Yeah,
problem.
it's all good. It's
But you begin drifting across, and Baldur has actually taken a giant oar as he's begun kind of like pushing, and he's given one actually over to Feanor on the other raft to kind of push your guys' way across. And you do, and it takes you probably about a solid hour and a half, 2 hours, making as quick of a straight as you can to the closest bank on the western shore. And you do, and you eventually get off and you unpack everything. And Baldur, he says, well, if we hurry, we can make it by nightfall. And if we have a few, well, a company of elves that we will be meeting at nightfall, and they shall be awaiting us. I will say, they are a friendly bunch as long as you are respectful to them. The ways of the elves are, well, you would know. And he points to the basically Valinith and Feanor. They have an etiquette that, well, it needs to be upheld. Not very many people have made their way into the halls of Thranduil and have been deemed guests. And by doing so, the worst thing that you can do is spit upon their honor, as they are beings of eternal pride, but eternal life. They've seen more things than we could ever imagine in our lifetimes, and they do really, really appreciate those who respect their customs and their terms. I'm not expecting any problems.
I'll follow your lead.
Okay. Well, I will say this first group of elves are a bunch of lovely individuals. When we actually arrive at, well, Thranduil's halls, be on your best behaviors, and we'll make things go as smooth as possible, I think.
Don't worry, you've got me in your party. I am of the utmost elegance. Huzzah.
Huh. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
You know what, Valinith? It'll be really, really interesting to see you, like, in your element.
It will be great. Do not worry, I've got this.
Yes, this is going to be something to see for sure.
Yes, just listen carefully. I will guide you. Even if you want, we have a long journey. I can give you elven etiquette lessons on the way there.
Yeah, that would be great, but I'm probably gonna be pretty busy training Rufus, so
That's fine. Yeah, we could teach him some elvish commands. How does that sound?
I don't know any Sindarin though.
Oh, I can teach you that. Of course, we can teach you the whole shebang. You could impress. Getting to the Elven Hall, learning some Sindarin.
Will that be like offensive though? Like I don't want to like mispronounce anything.
Oh, not at all. In fact, if it's the effort that counts, of course. They might look down on you for speaking a little bit incorrectly, but it's better than not speaking their language at all.
Is it though?
It is. Of course it is.
You see, the Feanor, he chimes in. You see, some of those, my family, I would say, yeah, some of them would take it as, well, you're trying. Tryings always do count for something, I do have to say, but as long as you're not taunting the language, I guess. Valinith, you could teach all of them, maybe perhaps some regular words that you would use when greeting somebody, like, I don't know, something like nice to meet you, or the pleasure's all mine, or you could even be, no, actually, second thought. I was going to say you could be dwarvish and say at your service, but they don't tend to like dwarves. I don't know.
Yes, I mean, it's one of the flaws that we have, but you know, they don't leave a good impression to elves, that is. The customs are very, very different, but none of us are dwarves, so it should be fine.
Oh, but I have a story to tell each and every one of you. Theodric, you come close. You want to learn about hobbits. I will tell you about a very famous hobbit. A hobbit by the name of Bilbo Baggins.
Would I have heard of this hobbit? I feel like I would have.
Absolutely. He is famous. And it's especially since his return, like his return caused such a stir up in the Shire that like everybody who comes, like who's been coming to the Prancing Pony and everything back in Bree have been talking about Bilbo Baggins and his journeys.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all that you know actually before your journey here about even more than Smaug is this fellow
Oh my
Bilbo.
goodness. I love Bilbo. Like that whole, he is a legendary icon. He is an absolute mad lad. Like imagine freaking doing what he did, just waking up one morning and said, yeah, I'm gonna join these 13 odd dwarves in this mad quest across the entirety. Like, so Feanor was going to tell this story, but then Jalen just launches into this like fan rant about the whole thing.
Before we begin, Jalen, I must say one thing. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. Not a dirty, nasty, stinky hole, but one that was kept quite tidy and clean. One that was always stocked with all kinds of food in the pantry. One that had a cozy fire they'd be able to sit by. Ah, it sounds quite wonderful indeed.
Yeah, and the perfectly round door with the handle just in the direct middle.
Theodric, are you
find that
listening to this?
Super frustrating, but no.
Hobbit
it was an
architecture.
Actual design choice. I don't know how they knew which way the door opened. It was the exact middle. And I always like the color green, you know, as a choice for him. I think that really represents like a whole part of his personality that we get to see.
Hey, Villainous, have you ever heard
later.
of hobbits?
Yes, those folk have very hairy feet. I actually met this Bilbo, right? Or at least saw him when he was in Rivendell.
Probably not. They
mind.
stopped in for a very brief time, and while that they were there, it was pretty much only like the elven lords and whatnot that got any chance, and then like the few guards here and there that got to see him.
Why, yes. I mean, I haven't met too many of them. Again, I grew up in Rivendell, and I didn't venture too far outside the borders. But yes, I do know of hobbits. I hear they have very hairy feet. Very strange folk indeed. But very kind as they come, I hear. Yes.
Oh man, you would be very lucky.
Theodric is
if
now
you-
coming around to the idea that hobbits may exist.
And Baldur says, "Oh, speaking of hobbits, there's actually a hobbit that we might encounter on our journey. He's actually way off. There's a wonderful little bed and breakfast that is actually out in the middle of Wilderland. Yeah, it's called the Easterly Inn. If we are lucky, we will be able to see a couple of hobbits that run there. They, well, I believe that their family name is the Brandybucks. Something like that. They're the famous hobbit clan. Yeah, they've settled down in Wilderland, and they are a very kind, very welcoming people."
Wonderful, that sounds lovely.
Indeed. And so time passes as you continue to talk. You hear the story of Bilbo Baggins and the dwarves, and night has fallen as you begin to travel more northwards up, basically along the river. As you start nearing, so you've already well past the part that you met Baldur and Belgo before inside Mirkwood, but you've kept the shore, haven't ducked inside the eaves. And then right as the river begins to turn into the wood, there's a small little kind of mountainy, kind of rough terrain, rocky area where you are greeted by a number of silhouettes in the distance. They are dark, and there's probably a solid, probably 8 of these individuals on the horizon as you make your way up, and Baldur, he introduces himself. "Sorry to keep you waiting, my friends. But I am here with my guard, and we are ready to make our way north and into the Mirkwood to Thranduil's halls to do some business and to be sent on our way. We have business at Woodman Hall. And one of the elves actually kind of pulls back his hood. And these hoods are basically it's twilight, and there's a trio of rafts that are there. So instead of the two, there's three of them that are there. And they emerge from the mists of the river. These green-cloaked figures, they kind of bring these rafts to shore and basically reveal their faces to find like these nice brown, reddish-haired, very fair elves. Almost with like these greenish, some of them green, some of them have almost like star-like eyes upon them. And they're amused and fascinated as you all begin to approach from all over the place. They see that Feanor is there. And Feanor, one thing that you have noticed is he's kept relatively quiet and hasn't said much. But they welcome you and with kind of open arms. And Belgo, he's just like, wow, it's been so long since I've seen all of you. And he goes and he actually runs up and gives one of the elves like this big hug, like around the legs. And this tall elf, he stands, he just like looks amused. I'm going to have Valineth, you make an insight check on this.
I can't imagine it's a problem, but Valineth will insight that. Let's see. 23 with a natural 20.
You know exactly what this is about because you felt the exact same thing for Belgo. It is amazing. You see growing up, you see such few children growing up that almost the innocence of them brings you kind of like this smile and like it's basically, it pushes the burdens of life away. And actually, you found one of the few things in life that has dispelled shadow is like just the lovingness of kids and the purity of them. And so you can see that this elf, his face just lights up as Belgo grabs him around kind of the legs and says, oh, we missed you so much. It's been so long. By the way, did you see that our ponies have grown? Well, this one over here, her name is Rosie. She's new. She probably haven't seen her before. So this is her first time in the Mirkwood, believe it or not. And he's just going on and on to this elf as he's just like kind of like smiling. And well, Belgo, it's very good to see you indeed. In fact, I would say that you're quite a sight for sore eyes. All of you, welcome. This is such a wonderful thing to be able to see brand new faces as you depart on this new journey. We're very excited to show new travelers the home of Thranduil's Hall. My name is Eldor. I am the captain of the raftsmen here. And it is my job as the barge to come to and from Lake Town, bringing the regular stores of wine, but also all kinds of goods from the woodland realm to the people of Esgaroth, and even further than that, to the people of the Lonely Mountain and Dale. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and I'm very happy that Baldur is able to find such kind-looking company. And he bends kind of very, like, elegantly to each of you, and all of you are just kind of set aghast. But however, Theodric and Jalen, I'm going to have you both make wisdom saving throws for me.
Oh.
Get some shadow from that elf. Do it.
We calm.
Not bad.
Oh no.
I got a 12.
That's
Okay.
not bad.
I got a 5.
5. So Jalen, this is something you see the way that these elves, there's something that's a little bit grating on you though. The only thing that you can think of is, man, that elf king, he was so rude. How could someone? And so like you have like this like thought of like, how could these people be related? How could like they be of like the same kingdom? But Theodric, you look upon these figures and you're just amazed, like their grace and their elegance and their beauty. Actually, for the first time, it's really strange. But you look at them and you look at Feanor and Valineth and you look back, and for the first time, you can actually see that Valineth and Feanor give off the same aura and the same glow to them. And you almost gain like this appreciation for basically these elves. And you're kind of brought into the kind of like this solemn peace as you approach, and you notice that Baradarok same as well. He is just as well behaved as you have ever seen him as these elves welcome you forward.
What's Rufus doing?
Rufus, he's sitting there, and he sees the elves.
Oh no.
And he looks up at you, Jalen, and he looks down, and he kind of crouches down to the ground and sits there and like rests his head on the ground. Jalen, he is completely relaxed in every single way. He is very content in the presence of the elves.
Okay, I'll take it.
They're magical.
Magical
and
elves.
beast. Valineth does an elegant bow back. He's like, "Oh, my cousins of the woodland realm. Hello, hello. I am Valineth. I am from the fair city of Rivendell. What's Rivendell and Sindarin? I always forget.
Oh man, now you got me forgetting.
I know, it's fine, whatever. Rivendell. I'm from Rivendell. And it's good to meet you, kind sirs,
Sorry, it's Imladris.
Imladris.
There we go. Thanks. Thanks, Theodric, the one who doesn't know anything.
I don't know either, but I was gonna
Thanks,
look it up
Australian.
for you
I
guys.
appreciate it. Eladrius. Yes, I don't know if you've been out that way, but it is good to see you, cousins.
Ah. Very rare do we see elven lords make their way all the way this far east. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Sir Valineth,
Son of Morbeth.
son of Morbeth, Lord of Imladris. And he kind of has like this very soft look as he gives you kind of a bow. As I had mentioned, my name is Eldor, and I come from Thranduil's court. And we welcome you with open arms. Any friend of Baldor's is a friend to us.
Feelings mutual.
Feanor still hasn't spoken a single word.
I thank you for your kind words, Master Elf. I am Theodric of Rohan.
Very
And
kind
Theodric
to...
gives a very he gives his best approximation of the same bow that Valineth did.
Make a traditions check.
Oh boy.
I don't know. Regardless of how this roll goes, Valen is very proud of Theodric for trying.
Okay, it's not bad. It's a 15.
Yeah,
15
really good.
is really good, actually. You do, and you mimic it really well. And... one of the fair children, descendants of the woodland, or descendants of our kin in the woodman. Theodric, you say your name is. You come from the deep south of Rohan. Is that true?
Yes, quite.
I sensed it in you and your beast. What a majestic creature.
Valineth sees it too. It's okay. Very
Yes.
majestic.
Baradarok has been with me for a very long time. I've raised him since he was a foal.
Baradarok. Yes, but what is his name?
I was 6. I was 6 years old.
Oh,
His name-
pardon me, I don't mean to be rude. Baradarok is a wonderful name, very well descriptive. Hopefully no offense taken.
No, none taken. Just an ongoing discussion with my friend here.
You get used to it. Don't worry. He's a fine beast, isn't he?
And a young woman. I don't believe I have seen you around these parts. My name is Eldor. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Eldor, likewise. I will attempt to give the same bow as I introduce myself.
Alright, traditions check for me.
You're gonna be real good at this, though.
I
You're good at those,
am
right?
Jalen of the Brelands. And this is Rufus, who I rescued off the street. I actually do have proficiency in traditions, but I rolled a 2, so I only got a 7.
7. The Brelands. My kin came from out west, and I myself have not ventured off beyond the Misty Mountains. But do know, a friend of Baldor's is a friend of ours, and you will find, hopefully, swift and warm accommodations in our elven halls of King Thranduil. Hopefully it's as comforting as your life back in Erabor. And Rufus, it is a pleasure to meet you. And Rufus, he smiles. And he kind of sits up, and he kind of like does this little thing with like his paw, as if to like shake, kind of.
I told you, Elvish is the language of the animals.
And so you can see that Eldor's eyes. He passes amongst all of you, and his eyes kind of rest a little bit on Feanor. He looks at a moment, smiles, and then at the rest of the group. And finally to Baldur. My good and dear friend, it has been far too long. What has it been? 2 years? And he holds his hand out to shake. My friend, yes, these years are yet a blink of an eye to us elves. But it has been far too long. And he goes and he shakes his hand and he bows a little bit. We have been awaiting you very eagerly. Come, get all of your beasts and all of your luggage on board, and we shall make our way upriver towards Thranduil's halls. Anything you guys want to say before jumping on? Anything you guys want to do?
Nope. Theodric is pretty good right now.
Okay.
Valneth too. He's happy to be along for the party.
Perfect. And so you begin to get everyone kind of packed up. I'm going to have Theodric, you're going to make a animal handling check as you get Baradrock on board, and same to you, Jalen, actually, for Rufus. Animal handling check to get Rufus on this. You can tell that there's a lot of chaos, and Rufus is...
Okay. Would it be made with advantage because of the calming nature of elves?
Sure.
Yay! I
Yay.
took my way into advantage.
Why you ask?
I needed that.
Of course you did. You always need it, Theodric, don't you?
I mean, you can't say stuff like, "Oh, this is the most well-behaved your animal has ever." I
Okay.
wrote the same thing
Hang on.
twice. What the heck?
Hang on, I need...
Lord, no, Jalen. I saw that.
Oh, so
Yes,
I gotta get my D16 going.
D16, please.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
Did you really roll poo with 2 rolls?
Yes.
Yep, I rolled the exact same thing.
D16, and that's a 3. What were your rolls? Just curious.
I got an 8 and a 6.
Okay.
I got a
Jane.
6 and a 6.
Okay. Your animals, they seem a little timid at first, and as the ponies, one thing that you've noticed with these ponies is they struggled, especially that last one, which you can by the name Rosie is the last young pony. She begins to timidly, as Eldor actually comes over and whispers in her ear, and immediately she hops on board without a fear. Would you like help with your animals?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Yep. Sorry, he's not trained yet. I'm
Yes.
just gonna train him later, and then.
Well, this
now
lake
he's
is the
later.
largest body of water that Baradrock and I have ever seen, so he's a little skittish.
Of course, no need to explain. This happens more times than not. Animals, yes, use this water for drinking, but not so much for crossing. And then he leans over and he whispers in Elvish and Sindarin in the ears of Baradrock and Rufus, and both of them happily jump on, obeying the commands immediately.
Did Valneth hear the command?
You did. However, as you begin repeating it to yourself, you begin saying it, it doesn't have the same effect.
It doesn't. But I relay it to the others and I say, "Oh yes, I think this translates in the common tongue. It's free real estate." Obviously, it is free real estate. Look at them; they hopped on quite perfectly.
There's nothing I can throw at Forge from here.
And so you get everybody on as you begin to pack the rest of the boats. These elves have split themselves. The 8 of them have split themselves between the group of you. And Belgo, he's really excited, and he actually tugs on your basically a gown, not gown, but like your robes, Valineth, and says,
Valineth,
Yes, young one?
can I have a word?
Oh, why, of course. And he bends down and gives an ear to him.
So, I know that you make really good impressions. I get that feeling from you. I will say,
Wise, young one. Yes, wise.
I will say, Valineth,
yes.
they're good people. These elves.
Oh, yes.
They do a good job. I know they seem strict and hard from the exterior, but...
and you can see, I'm going to actually have you make a perception check as he continues explaining.
That's a natural 20 for a 25.
You see, oh man, these nat 20s are crazy.
I know, I don't know.
You see as he begins, you see as he
We rolled 5 nat 20s.
Valineth, you you see that he's stroking this necklace, and actually, as you see, you notice that the necklace it's less of like a jewelry and more of like a talisman, something that is. It's got a really nice chain attached to it, but it doesn't seem to hold a whole lot of value. But the way that he clutches at this is almost as if he's clutching at something. He's clutching onto someone beyond this. And as you look deeper into his eyes and he begins to explain, you can see that there's kind of a life in him as he kind of caresses the necklace upon his chest. And he says,
well, you see, after our home was destroyed and, when the dragon came, Eldor was one of the ones that I remember from my youth. I was only 5 at the time, you know. And Da and I, we found our way all the way up, seeking help from the elves. Eldor was a good guy, and he kind of took my dad under his wing. My dad was lost for a long time, but it was thanks to Eldor and Galleon. Galleon is a wonderful, wonderful man. He's the one who actually we're going to meet when we get to Thranduil's halls, and he's a really good guy. I hope you really like him.
Well, of course they're good, of course. Elves have their issues, but they are kind, and they are giving with their time, and I'm happy that they were kind in giving to you. A friend of yours is a friend of mine. And he gives him like a little pat on the head, and he notices the little thing. He's like, by the way, I've noticed around your neck, what is that you're fidgeting with?
Oh, this?
Yes.
Oh, it's just my mom. I mean,
Your mother? Can I see it for a second? I won't touch it, but can you show it to me?
he holds it up, and it's pretty simple. Essentially, it's kind of like a small, kind of little rectangular like stick, and it's got kind of like some carvings in it, like kind of like some circles with a few lines. It's a completely made up script or language. You could tell like he fiddled with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you keep a secret, Valineth?
Why, of course. Your secret's mine.
Do you believe in magic?
Do I believe in magic? The whole world is full of magic. Of course I do.
Well, you see, some say that my mom's not with us anymore. But after Smaug fell on the city, I wasn't able to see my mom after that. And, Dad told me, he gave me this. He said that my mom made it for me, and that she was planning on giving it to me on my birthday. And he said I didn't need to be sad. he said that the magic existed in this. And as long as I had this, my mother will always be with me.
Wise words from your father. Do you mind if I hold it? You don't need to take it off or anything, but do you mind if I touch it?
Make a persuasion check.
Yeah. Not good at those. Not good at those. That's not good. That's a 6.
No, I don't
Oh,
think so.
That's fine. That's fine. But do you mind if I look at it a little bit longer? And Valineth whispers under his breath, words of blessing and of a passing that elves typically do for.
As you're doing this, he looks to either side as almost like kind of like keeping it a secret, so no one else is seeing this.
Says, Valineth, please do keep this a secret. I don't want anyone taking my greatest treasure.
Don't worry.
I don't want anyone taking my mother away from me.
You know, the words of your father, quite wise indeed. Although, even without this, goodness, if God forbid this does happen to disappear, not saying it will, I will also protect this with you. So yes, it's our secret, but I will protect it as well. No one will get their hands on it as long as I'm here. But do know, your mother's always with you, even if this isn't necessarily with you too. As you said,
looks
the
confused.
magic.
But the magic's in this.
The magic's in you, young one. This is just a vessel for you to. This is just a vessel for you to be able to harness that magic. But even without it, it's never gone. It's within you, my young one. Just remember that, okay?
Well,
Let's say another thing.
my dad did say something that if I felt lonely, if I felt like I was missing her, I just need to hold this close to my heart, and just think about her like she's right here standing next to me.
You know, I actually have one of those things too, Belgo. And Valineth takes out his journal, and he says,
Oh,
"Yeah, I know it's not. It's very simple, right? Yours is much more beautiful and glamorous, but this journal was actually my father's. This is like when I hold this and when I write in this is what brings my father close to me too. So yes, I completely agree. This is something that it's a secret between us. Okay, don't tell anyone about my journal.
secret. Yes.
Secret. Okay.
Magic's
The-
amazing.
The magic is amazing, isn't it?
Whenever I'm with the elves, I feel like there's magic all over.
They tend to do that. We do live forever, after all.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. Even myself, I can't even think of forever. It's a little intimidating, not going to lie. However, it gives me hope for the future, especially young ones like you. And he bats him on the head again. Just remember, magic. It's within you.
It's our secret, though, right?
It's our secret, of course. Of course. As long as you don't tell anyone about my journal and my father, I won't tell anyone about your necklace.
It's a promise. And he holds his pinky up. He's looking around.
Valineth, does he understand this?
Make a traditions check.
Oh, Lord. I'm so excited for this to go poorly. Oh, that's a natural 20, so that's a 22. Sorry, everyone.
You don't know about this, but you look at it and you're like, you kind of get the basic gist of it. Actually, so much to the point where you grip the pinky with your pinky, and you look him straight in the eye, and you say, Belgo, I promise, no matter what happens, the secret is safe with me. And as long as I live, that is forever.
Keep it secret, keep it safe.
The magic will be shared between the both of us and all of those that you love and care about. And he keeps it. He's secret safe. And he sits and he goes over and he wanders over to Rufus and he continues petting Rufus.
He's probably going to tell Rufus when we're asleep. It's all good.
You all along.
So once departed, the elves, they expertly pilot the rafts against the current. basically all the way up the forest river. After several days of slow travel, so this takes a while as you continue up, paddling against the currents, you have all the opportunity to be able to talk to each other, kind of get to know the elves a little bit before coming into Thranduil's halls. But after several days of travel, the land on either side of the raft rises and turns stony and wooded, and the company pass into the shadow of the trees. It is as though the rafts are sailing up a dark tunnel, as the branches interlace overhead into a dark canopy. The company glimpses tall hills and gaps between the trees, until the river widens and the trees grow thinner once again. Here, a bay opens, and huts cling close to a shingly shore. The elves steer up a stream which flows out of the rocky canyon. The canyon walls grow higher and higher, until the rafts pass a portcullis, and suddenly you all find yourselves in the caves of the Elven King. I'm going to pull up an image for you. I don't think it's that one. I think it's... Nope, it's definitely this one. With this image, you have arrived at the halls of King Thranduil in the Elven Hall, and that is where we're going to go ahead and end our session for tonight.
Hey.
Yo.
Excellent.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good. There was a lot of character growth that session.
Yeah,
Lot of
I,
character
I,
It
I,
was.
I feel a little bad that Nick missed it.
I
And,
know. Well,
it
he
went well.
grew a little bit too. He'll watch it and he'll
I'm actually pretty excited to talk to him about some of the things, because
Yeah.
some of the personality traits that I gave him were very intentional, so I could actually control him like an NPC to help further the story. So I actually utilized him in his absence, so it's okay. It's good. So if you guys are missing, it's totally fine, but you also might die, so that's fun. No, just kidding.
I'll be right if Jalen dies. Just don't let Rufus die.
Wow.
That's where my priorities are at.
No.
Dog companions.
I mean, I'm not gonna be here next week. I don't know what to
That's
say.
fair. That's about. I guarantee you're not gonna die in the Hall of the Elven King. Hopefully.
You guarantee that?
Unless
Okay.
Randall's really mad about
Yeah.
the whole
About that
raft
one
I made.
incident that he probably doesn't even remember.
Yeah,
What was it, a pea getting flung or falling
No,
into his
I-
chair?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
almost fell into him. Almost.
almost.
It's good.
Drunkenly.
Very drunk.
It's fine. He's just a very pretentious dude. Sometimes it's fine.
Guys, when you guys met the elves, I played some very elvish music. So if you go back and re-listen with the second you meet, it's really setting the
Magical.
mood. It's very magical.
Yeah.
So it's good
I
stuff.
regret not coming up with a second name for my little Hobbit story, but
No, it's okay. All you can hear
No.
as you're on your raft is doo doo doo, boo 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 doo boo doo.
we've been talking about Hobbits
Concerning
a lot
hobbits.
in recent sessions.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah,
good.
lots of
Theodric
hobbits.
doesn't believe. We gotta make him believe.
Yeah.
I do
It's not
believe
that
in
you believe.
hobbits. I do. I do believe in hobbits. Come on, you have to clap, otherwise they're gonna die.
Clap!
You have to clap, Theodric.
Should not be loud. It's very late.
Oh Lord. Also, I apologize. You guys got chaotic Forge tonight. I'm overly tired, so.
That's okay.
Fine.
It's
I think
fine.
a bit of chaos never hurt anyone.
Oh yeah.
Fine. It was good though. I really enjoyed. There was a lot of really nice, touching moments. And I think everyone got really good moments too to be able to communicate those as well.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I was
I
really
mean,
happy about
considering
that.
how we started today, the ending was pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. And even Belgo, I feel
Yeah.
like of all the people, Valineth, I mean, not Valineth doesn't mean it, obviously, but of all the people for Belgo to confide in,
Yeah.
Valineth will keep it though. Valineth will keep that secret. He's not gonna
fair.
spoil it. It's the magic of the elves. He like Kyle said, Valineth feels the same way in a way that that the elves, what's his name?
Eldor.
Eldor feels when with that. It's like children are special because there's not many elvish children. So seeing it's very special and eye-opening and magical. Yeah, it's good.
Would you guys like to see something?
Yes.
My candle. Oh, I just stripped wax onto
Candle.
my
I was
computer.
like, is this like a tooth mold? Like, my dad's a dentist,
Nope.
so I was
This
like,
is the remains of my candle.
Gonna have to get another one.
needless to
represent-
say, you
I already
utilized it.
have another one. Okay.
Oh, good.
What?
Perfect.
You'll like this. Hang on.
Guys, we have
Those
to
of
all
you who
we have to
don't
all
know.
guess the flavors real quick.
Those of you
Oh, Dreamer.
Patchouli and sage.
Joe, that's a good one for the Mirkwood. I like it. I'm guessing.
1 second, Jalen. Ooh,
I'm guessing
Eyeballs.
it is
We haven't even seen it
eyeball
yet.
smell. Why didn't you have that one for the last session? Could have fed
I
it to
didn't see
Rufus.
Oh,
Anyway.
yes.
It's good.
You were saying? Sorry.
Well, I was just saying, like, those of you who are unaware, Spider has had all these candles going on during all of our D&D sessions, so they're like the luck behind the scenes. Maybe that's why Theodrix.
Maybe I should start lighting a candle.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It could help.
Or I could stop stealing all those natural
I need
20s.
to
That was
just pray to
ridiculous.
RNGesus.
yeah, maybe that's why Valineth keeps rolling. He's really into the RNGs.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you, I've actually moved exclusively to my phone because I can't roll it on my laptop. So I've been
Yeah.
using the D&D Beyond app on my phone. It's way quicker than the PC, and so I just
Yeah.
roll like I have my D&D Beyond stats up on my PC screen, but then all my rolls are through.
Oh my gosh, Baradarok has a command. Just a
Yeah.
good
All
old
of
brown
them.
So
horse
does
and low
Rufus.
key the party MVP. Also
Rufus does-
Theodrix.
I also noticed. Yeah, I also noticed
What?
Rufus had a spelling issue, but I changed it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, just a shaggy dog who is happy to be included.
Oh.
You should put board certified good boy on there.
I could do that.
Guys, I
Message
love
me in the
this.
Discord,
Anyway.
and then I will put that.
That's
I also
great.
need to
Anyway,
make one for Nick.
this is Jeff.
He's named after the skeleton.
Yeah. I put Google
What
eyes
was
in
it?
him.
The late late show with Craig Ferguson.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
I have to take the Google eyes out to burn him, but
You used to leave him in,
he
and then just melt.
serves.
Or you could just
so
leave him
much.
in and then the eye will.
Oh, I do not like that. That seems dangerous.
that's a bit.
Yeah, it's
Ill
true.
advised.
It's good though. It's good.
That's
We're looking
awesome.
forward to Jeff lighting the way for us through Mirkwood. Kyle, any announcements before we do head off?
Yeah, a couple. So we got streams for the rest of the week. This is a big week for tabletop RPGs, as this weekend we have our next session of Everlast. And so Friday night for west side of the world, and Saturday morning for those of us on the east side of the world, 10:30 a.m. JST. But also, Dain will continue his playthrough of Breath of the Wild tomorrow. Is that correct?
That is correct.
7
as
p.m.
far as I know, yes.
JST?
Yes.
And so, yeah, it'll be good to join us for those for the upcoming week. And finally, we do have a sponsor, Daisnaki, Japanese sweets and luxury treats. Currently, they have their matcha box going on right now. And so it's a wonderful box full of matcha goodies. And so make sure you check that out. And if you do get delicious sweets from them, make sure to mention the mention section that Forge sent you, as we are very close to reaching our goal of referrals. And once that happens, they're going to do a giveaway. And in this giveaway, it's a free omakase box, and so you get tickets towards for purchasing and also for being part of that stream when it does happen, if you're a follower and entering that way. And then also when you are a subscriber, you automatically get tickets for that. So a great way to be able to kind of build the community and reward you guys for supporting an amazing family business here in Tokyo, Japan. And by doing that, you also help Fantasy Forge Studios out too. So
Yep.
you guys are awesome.
I will say one other quick announcement that we have. So we actually will be having a new member join our Everlast team, which is really cool. So those of you may know him very well. He is
The
random
poor he
NPC
is the
number
poor
3.
painter who is on the side of the road looking for jobs in Esgaroth at the moment, and he got the job as Thordain.
Yeah, Thordain. So he will be taking over the character that I've been playing for the last year, I guess, Thordain. So the original player, unfortunately, due to just life circumstances, had to drop out. However, he's been an integral part of the party, those of you who watched our Everlast streams, for 2 years prior. And so kind of felt bad just kind of getting rid of him. So I've been playing 2 characters for the last year. And Ikari, one of our wonderful viewers here and moderators, has taken up the mantle of the Wood Elf Dain. So come join us on 10:30 a.m. Japan Standard Time for some more Everlast. He will not be starting this week. There's a lot he needs to be caught up on with Kyle and stuff. But yeah, so we actually have a full party now as opposed to just me voicing 2 characters. And Dain might not be a man of science, which is great.
Yeah, he might be like a man of like, I don't know, like
Captain, my captain. That's what
yeah,
he is.
something. Man of poetry.
Yeah. But I did see that Spider also put a bunch of links. Thank you. I appreciate that. Also, YouTube. If you guys missed any of these sessions or any of our other sessions, Tabletop RPGs, we've also been uploading a lot of our different series, not just our Tabletop RPG, which we had been doing just exclusively Tabletop RPG for a little while. But if you want to catch up any of our streams that you happen to miss, say this isn't a time that necessarily works for you, or say you want to catch Everlast, but again, it's a time that doesn't necessarily work for you, or you're just busy. But you want to catch up on those will always be available on our YouTube channel. So go check those out. And hopefully it's easy to navigate. We have a lot of videos up on there, but categories-wise, I think they're pretty simple to follow. So feel free to go to the categories section and then find what you like. And yeah, you can do that kind of stuff. But I don't have any more announcements, so I'm done.
I'm so excited for next week and to see what the Mirkwood brings and what the Halls of Thranduil will bring to each and every one of you. Unfortunately, we will be missing Jalen, but it'll be okay as, you know, the road goes ever onward and onward. And so that's a good place to leave off. And if you have any last things to say, let's go ahead and catch you guys next week. Any last things?
Nope.
Nope. Have a good one, everyone. Stay good and be happy out there. Hopefully you get a
Bye.
10 out of 10 out of your day. Bye.